Good evening.
As you can see, I've been fully integrated with the Reaper. You too can become like me. Today we taught you about the Book of the Reaper and all the knowledge within this book. That's right, I have become one with the machine of sorrow, and I have ascended my immortal coil. I am now one with many minds. In the eyes of you, I may have committed a great crime, but in the eyes of God, I am now one count. This is the Book of the Reaper.
So, as
Any
you can
questions?
see, Johnny
I
is.
heard nothing from that.
Yeah, Johnny has smoked 30 packs of cigarettes, developed debilitating throat cancer, and now has gotten a
Not
tracheotomy.
even. It sounds like a very, very old, speaker you hear when you go to a drive-through. They have a large, yeah, like a large, a Big Mac meal.
Yeah,
can I get a more
fucking
And do you have any of those apple pies?
I got this. I got a fucking kazoo, and now I'm just playing with it.
I can't even kazoo.
I have no intention of ever actually using this as an instrument. I'm just going to use it for voice filter kind of stuff.
She's just gonna voice filter at that point. Just get some
just go
software to
ahead.
do it.
No, it's the thing with stirs the pot is that he lost his trachea from chain smoking, and he has that. He's got that built into his trachea.
Why do both of our characters chain
Well,
smoke?
Hold on.
To teach people not
Does
to
this
do
affect
it.
my voice? No. Okay, so yes, not.
Yeah, you gotta do all this other stuff too. Like you gotta manually pull your lips together to do certain voices, or grab your throat. Yeah, as Aaron Hansen is not somebody I would refer to as a talented voice actor, but he tells about the way he does voices. He has to change the way his mouth opens in order to do certain voices. And back when I actually, when I was really trying to be a voice actor, when I first started doing D&D games, and then just quit because I found out, no, it's too much effort and nobody's actually paying attention to it.
What I would have done
I would do
was
that.
just take a fan, put that to your mouth, and then you sound like Britney Spears.
Yeah. See, or we could just get a big auto tuner on this microphone. I sound like Usher the entire time.
Yep.
I want to find a software that does that because that sounds so cool.
Gary has one of those. I gotta ask Gary what software he uses. Yeah. You know Gary, Kyle knows Gary, nobody else on this channel does, nobody in the server does either, because Gary's a shut-in, he doesn't want to be a part of the server.
Bro, we're not gonna tag him every 5 minutes. He can talk at his leisure.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. It's and Meepian doesn't like large crowds either. It's not not the fault of anybody, just some people don't like big servers like that.
Understandable.
So, the Weaver.
Yeah,
The
she
Weaver.
sucks. Fuck the Weaver.
Now, here's the thing. The Weaver is a necessary evil in the World of Darkness. There is a lot of stuff where the line is tread in the World of Darkness. Is the worm a terrible person? Yes, but what are you going to get without the worm? You're going to get what you saw in Cruelty Squad, where life just goes on forever without meaning. Nothing has any value because nothing can be lost. Supply and demand. If nothing is at risk of being lost forever, then nobody really cares about it. And that's what we had with Cruelty Squad.
I mean, animals live without purpose, and that's been going on for ages. They haven't advanced.
No.
Well, they
not
do
exactly,
have a purpose.
Not meaning in your life or anything like that. I'm saying, tigers, for example. That's an endangered species that everybody's losing their mind about. And everybody's saying, you gotta save the tigers, you gotta put all this money towards a tiger fund. But something like squirrels, the gray squirrel in North America, that's not any risk of dying out anytime soon. So nobody really sees that as an exotic or precious animal. You see a squirrel on the street, you don't care. You see a tiger, that's a big deal.
We don't have black squirrels up here. We don't have gray squirrels. We have black squirrels up here.
You got a black squirrel, we got a gray squirrel down here. And then
brown squirrels, yeah.
And then the UK, we got a red squirrel, but it's endangered because it's got sick from gray squirrels. Now that squirrel's valuable because of how rare it is and how little land it actually covers. Same with the difference between coyotes and wolves. There are plenty of coyotes in North America, not so many wolves. I mean, the Canis rufus was just declared extinct, and there's only 10 in existence. The only way that wolf is going to continue to exist is by artificial insemination and other environmental programs where that wolf isn't necessarily wild anymore.
Yeah, so look who's laughing now, I guess you could say.
Well,
Bruh.
the Weaver, you could live in a world without the Weaver. No, you couldn't. No, there's no way you can live without the Weaver. She's somebody that you need in the world of darkness in order for life to continue. You cannot exist without any single member of the Triad. Because the Weaver... Now, Eden asked me before we did this video, he wants me to go into gadgets. I'm going to go into gadgets because the Weaver has made is responsible behind a lot of inventions. Some of these are very cool mechanically, but that's not necessarily what interests me the most about the Weaver. Because the Weaver is not necessarily the preserver or the one who gives definition. It is order itself. While the Wild is the prime mover, and the Worm is oblivion, the Weaver is order made from chaos, and who gives order to chaos. And that's what caught my attention the most about the Weaver. Because, do you value order, Kyle?
Not really, no.
Now, here's the thing. Do you expect to go outside every day going to work, and there's a riot in the middle of the street? Do you expect to see that?
No, I don't.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's the safety that you get from order. You're able to live and prosper and find a place in the world you have because of order. If you're to live in a world of chaos, if the Wild or the Worm was to dominate the planet, then you would spend every day looking over your shoulder. It would be the Wild.
Hold on, let me put it a better way. So if you went and got a beer, and how would you feel if you went to drink a beer and every time you drank a beer, it tasted different every single time?
I mean, in all honesty, that'd be a unique flavor profile, but at the same time,
because you could get one that fucking sucks.
That's true.
Exactly.
But then if you drink it again, then it could be good.
Yeah, it's that kind of risk and reward where the way that God works, with the capital G in the world of darkness, you either go off the idea of the Kuei-jin books and Hunter the Reckoning, and that God is a distant force that has left us and has either stayed gone forever or has come back. While from a, say, Mage the Ascension and Werewolf the Apocalypse point of view, God is here, but he's not necessarily the ultimate good. He's not evil or cruel either. He's an ultimately neutral party that just adds to his creation and watches it happen. That would be the Wild that we discussed last week. A more neutral take on the Judeo-Christian God if you see the Wild as God. While the Weaver is the order that was made from that same being. Because after all, the Weaver was born between a clash between the Wild and Worm, where their desire to rein in each other brought the Weaver into existence. And that's what interests me the most about the Weaver.
So,
what?
So having said that, though, like, if God exists in the world of darkness, then the Holy Spirit would actually be a spirit itself. So celestial chorus that puts some points in spiritus or spirit sphere. How powerful would that spirit actually be?
With the spirit sphere, it's more about your interaction with the Umbra itself, where you're not necessarily wrong in saying that because you do have the Celestials. We will talk about those in 2 weeks. Just hang tight. We're going to cover Rage Across Heaven. Nobody has covered that book on YouTube. I'm going to get to it first.
It is going to be fucked. Oh, I am excited.
Yeah, if you don't want me to talk about, how about you shut me up and you make that video first?
Well, I do want to. That's one of the other things that's preventing me from actually making the Rage Across Amazon is because I have not covered everything in World of Darkness, and I kind of feel like I need to.
You don't necessarily need to do that. You can treat these spots in a bubble, or you can have them all be connected. You don't lose anything from doing either one. Like what we were doing.
But I want to make it big. You know, I want to go big.
Yeah, well, don't bite off more than you can chew. Jay Slux learned that the hard way today because he wanted to incorporate Wraith the Oblivion into Minnesota Midnights, but has never read a Wraith book and went to me for all the information. And then he had to pause the session in the middle of today's game and ask me to run it because I knew more about the Wraith and the Shadowlands than he did. Where if you're not comfortable about talking about it, don't include it in the game until you feel like you're at a point where you can talk about it and think you know what you're talking about. That's what I did whenever I did D&D, where I talked more about hell and the abyss more than I talked about the actual material plane, because I knew more about the abyss and Avernus than I did about the lore about the kingdoms of the Sword Coast and D&D. You got to take this one step at a time. You can't bite off the entire world of darkness and expect to swallow it.
Right.
Yeah.
But
And
I've done that. I've done it before. I've bitten off more than I can chew, and I've come out ahead.
That's my
Fair.
biggest
So,
fear
yeah,
doing Appalachia, but we'll see.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, you are better at this than you gave yourself credit for, Kyle. I would tell it to you like it is.
Except
if
I
I
missed
thought you
the
were doing a
last
bad
2
job.
sessions because of life bullshit.
Yeah, same here. I couldn't exactly get something off the ground with Russia for a while either. And so, chaos is where we are when we don't know where we are, and what we are doing when we don't know what we're doing. You're just going to live an entire life of uncertainty if you were living under the wild or the worm. While with the Weaver, you can form a schedule. You can plan ahead. You know what you're going to do a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. You're able to form goals and actually set up a future for yourself with the Weaver. Without the Weaver, you're just living in the moment all the time. You're not going to go anywhere. Could you say that you could rise to a higher plane or gain wisdom by just living moment to moment?
It would require a lot of energy. Like, you need to be on cocaine all the time. Whereas with the Weaver, like, you're just you're able to preserve some energy. So I guess in a way, the Weaver has actually weakened us.
Yeah.
One is the saying, everyone will have their own vine and fig tree in paradise. And the Weaver promises that to you. The Weaver originally wanted you to have that. Between the creation of the wild and the destruction of the Weaver, of the worm, the Weaver promised you a day in the shade. You didn't have to look over your shoulder forever. You didn't have to worry about what was going to happen tomorrow. The Weaver offered you a place where you could stay, catch your breath, find out what you're going to do next, find out where you were hurting and where you need to heal. That's the benefit of having the Weaver. The problem is, the Weaver forgot her own place. And how do we get there? Do you necessarily blame the wild or the worm for where the Weaver is today?
Well, actually, here's an interesting thing I like reading, just skimming through the book. So,
Well,
apparently,
we're at the start of the book now, yeah.
well, yeah. So if you go into the Codex, when it goes into naming, apparently Gaia was the one originally in charge of naming everything.
Yes.
And the Weaver was jealous of that. So to put that in metaphorical terms, Gaia was the one in charge. Gaia was the one that named all the variables in the computer program, and the Weaver had to flesh out all the skeleton code. And
right.
And if you do computer programming, it kind of pisses some people off because there's no room for expansion on the code and actually improving it. Because you have to go back and rename everything all over again.
We have a man with masters in computer science in this call.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, am I off on that, Tyler?
No, I wouldn't say you are.
Yes. Because I did a programming class when I was in high school, and I hated every minute of it. I would never get into this as a career.
See, IRL Kyle, the actual living glasswalker talking. That is the random interrupt. Coding is basically just a language. That is all it is. It's like learning any other language. The neat thing about it is, it's just how the computer talks. But the thing is, the higher up you go as far as language goes, the more, human it appears. Python and Ruby are going to look very, very human. And if you're doing databases, that would be SQL. And of course, if the further down you go to Java, you get objects, but it's a little more abstract. You get C++, where you have pointer manipulation. You get down to C, where you have less functions and more scripting to do, less objects. And then you get down to machine code, which is really down into the guts of the computer. Johnny saw that I was actually trying to do that, and I can't even speak that. That is the tongue of the elder gods. And
I
then
went over to ChatGPT. I copied that entire assignment.
I did not run that
for
script.
you, and I sent that to you.
I did not run that script.
I ran the script, and it worked.
You didn't have a fucking compiler.
No, I went on to a web browser one. I said, "Hey, does this code work?" It said yes.
Jesus.
Yes.
Anyway,
And,
when'd
yeah.
you
Meanwhile, I'm an IRL boner. I smoked a pack of cigarettes I found on a park bench one time. And no
So-
idea who. Yeah,
Going
no
back to your
idea who owned
question
it.
about whose fault it is, or if the Weaver is evil.
Yeah,
or
you're
not.
going at this from a perspective where the werewolves are telling a story, where the Book of the Weaver, it's a werewolf telling the story. How do I know this? It's because they say Gaia came first. Anyone else
It
will
is-
tell you the Gaia came
yeah.
first. And
In fact, I think in the Wild Book of the Wild and the Book of the Worm, they actually say differently as well. Yeah,
mhm.
but the Book of the Weaver says that Gaia came first.
and with Gaia giving the job over to the Weaver, or the Weaver that was her original job, she made Gaia. She of course had to split the work between herself and herself by creating Queen Ananasa, because the workload that was being given to her by the Wild was too great, and she couldn't keep up with the Worm destroying all of her stuff. It was
Allegedly.
the Weaver, from her perspective, was losing her own downtime. It was work constantly. I don't have the time to spend in the shade of my own fig tree because my fig tree is constantly being destroyed and rebuilt, and I don't get the time to prune where the shade is supposed to be. So, to make life for herself bearable, she put her workload on pause, made Queen Ananasa, and now you have two weavers, a greater weaver and a lesser weaver with Queen Ananasa, who would, of course, go off and sympathize with the Wild, saying, "Oh, he's just making stuff for us. If we didn't have a Wild, we wouldn't have a job." And the Weaver says, "It's because of the Wild that my job is so hard." The difference between the two. Two very different retail workers, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I've
it's
been
like
there.
it's like the Wild is like the hoarding mother that just likes to buy a whole bunch of shit, and like and like you're and like the Weaver is kind of like the child there that's like playing, okay, are you sure you need that? Okay, let's put that over here so it's really nice. And the dad there just wants to throw everything out, which is being the worm.
Yeah, the Worm. The Worm's going over it. This milk is about to go bad in 3 days. I'm throwing it out now.
Basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the Weaver, when it came to the Wild or the Worm, whoever started the fight pissed off the Weaver. She thought to herself, "I need to get back at both of you. You keep messing with the planet. I'm sick to death of you doing this." While Queen Ananasa took over her job for a while, she went over and did a project in secret, the Gauntlet. She comes back with this giant wall that she made and slams it down onto the planet, permanently splitting the material plane that we know today, aka the Tellurian, and the Umbra, the spirit world. And in doing so, forced both the Worm and the Wild out of the material plane and into the Umbra, where they still are. Neither of them have figured out how to get through this. The Gauntlet is so thick, it stops the Wild's crazy inventions from passing through, and the Worm, the force of destruction itself, can't destroy the Gauntlet. All the Weaver's power went into making that. You outdid yourself with that project.
She really
I thought you
did.
said I thought you said Aranasi did that though.
No, she was managing that. The Weaver's the one who made the Gauntlet.
Okay, so the Weaver made the gauntlet. The Aranasi.
Yeah, Queen
Man-
Anasta was managing the Weaver job while she was doing that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, after all, somebody needs to leave the desk, make the Gauntlet in secret, so neither the Wild or the Worm can figure out how to get in the way of the plan. And what happens next? The Weaver decides, in order to make sure you stop playing with my stuff, I need to bind you. She goes after the Wild first, and of course it doesn't work because the Wild is Zinch. He's constantly reshaping himself. You can't
chaos.
catch him. Yeah.
Yep.
And instead, she turns her attention to the Worm, and she slowly seduces the Worm, or she gets in a giant cosmic battle with the Worm, whichever story you want to go with, and succeeds in binding the Worm. She takes the balanced Worm, throws her into her giant pattern web, and binds him there for all eternity. The Worm is still stuck in there. Once again, a force of preservation so strong, so orderly, that oblivion itself can't destroy it. And of course, the worm, in his despair, would have his despair manifest in the form of the Triadic worm, the Defiler, the Eater of Souls, and Calamity itself. And the Weaver nails the issue with Queen Ananasa. Sure, Ananasa, you made the Ananasi. You made the greatest creation of all, the spider. So I'm going to do two things. You betrayed me by making the Ananasi with the wild behind my back. So I am going to honor you by taking the form of your best creation, the spider. And then I'm going to get my revenge on you by catching you, binding you in this gigantic orb of amber, and then I'm going to throw you into the same web I put the balance worm in, and that's where you'll be forever. And to the Weaver, this was good enough. This was a good enough victory. Sure, my plan to catch the wild has failed. Sure, my attempts of controlling the changing breeds failed, because all my were insects died because of the Ananasi. Check our Ananasi video if you want to know more about that, and I also made a small video about it. And sure, I don't necessarily control the world today. I will eventually control the world, and I'm okay with that. How is she going to do that? Humanity. The Rokia implied that the Weaver used to have complete dominion over humanity. This is how it starts. She looks over at humans, and in the back of her mind, back of every human's mind, they get a little voice saying, "You can do better. You can do better than this. I am going to give you the keys to being the best, strongest, dominant race on the planet."
And what
You
were the
just need
three
to-
keys? And they
Yeah,
gave
just-
him 3 keys, right?
The 3 keys, yes.
Or
Yeah,
seeds, I guess you could say.
I need you to put these keys in the shape of a triangle. It will solve the puzzle for you.
And
You
what were
guys-
those 3 things?
Are you familiar with the stoned ape theory? You see enough episodes of Joe Rogan to know about it?
No.
Oh, where they ate
This-
some mushrooms and had a fucking wild trip?
Yeah, the theory is that if you believe in evolution and you believe in the fossil records, that apes evolved into people through psychedelics. There is evidence that psychedelic drugs like this can increase your brain activity and brain health. So over the course of I don't know how many years, apes would take these psychedelics and slowly develop their brains, and eventually would evolve into the Homo sapiens and what would eventually become humans today through doing psychedelic drugs. The Weaver would slowly guide people to doing what they needed to develop their brains, because after all, the Weaver was looking at humanity saying, "You've got no claws, you've got no armor, you've got no carapace, you sweat, you've got thin skin, there's not much I can do with you. Let's take that intelligence and let's make that your greatest asset."
Interesting.
She improved upon it, if you want to take the Stone Ape theory into account, through drugs, through drugging the humans and increasing that intelligence. And through the Weaver, humanity became the smartest creation of all, and would eventually learn how to use tools. The Weaver said, "You want to get that coconut open? Take a rock and smash it open. You want to climb up that tree? Throw a vine over it and you can climb up the vine. You want to do this? You want to do that? I'm going to show you how this is done." She would whisper these thoughts and ideas into the ears of humans, and they would invent the wheel. They would make shelter. They would make fire. They would eventually learn how to make weapons. They would learn how to make storerooms for their meat. They would learn how to preserve water in clay pots so they could have that stuff for later. And eventually, through the whispers of the Weaver, humanity became what it was today. Because after all, what separates us from other animals?
The fact that we have self-awareness and the whole "I think, therefore I am," or I think there was another
Pattern
Another theoretical-
recognition?
Right.
also
and this-
also the ability to doubt as well.
this-
Apparently,
the
that was
reasons
something
you-
none of philosophers
the
said.
reasons you list are the reasons why I believe in God, personally. That I don't believe that if we did not have a prime mover that we could have developed. No, I believe that there was something guiding us. Something had to have shown us these complex ideas. No other creature on the world can do what we can do. They can't form systems of morality. They can't form a justice system. They can't form society or philosophy or sociology or culture the way that we can. They can't use tools the same way that we can. Sure, you can get an orangutan and teach him how to use a saw. Sure, you can't get an orangutan to build an airplane. That's just not possible. And
Give it like a
yeah, I
million
suppose
years or so.
yeah, if you train that orangutan and give him some psychedelics, maybe he can. But there's so much that we have that every other creature on Earth doesn't have. And this is why I believe that something has been guiding us. And what gives me faith as a Christian, that's what gives me faith. The idea that we developed for a reason. And
we are God's favorite species.
You look at us today, we are the stewards of nature. We're not put on this earth to be mindless killers like the World Economic Forum says we are. Or just stop oil or some shit like that. We are here to preserve the planet, to help it prosper, to help it grow, in order to build and use tools that can create the best planet possible. That's what we're supposed to do. And that's what the Weaver originally intended for us in the World of Darkness. But somebody got in the way of that plan, right? The worm.
I thought the worm was just doing its job trying to kill shit because there was too much shit.
There is so many Christian and Gnostic themes in the World of Darkness, and this is what's so cool to me about World of Darkness. Because this is where the Gnosticism comes into play. Are you familiar with the idea of Sophia in Hermetic tradition?
No.
I am not.
All right. So, to very quickly summarize it, so I'm not going off on this massive Gnostic rant, she's kind of like the ideal self, in a way. And that ideal self, Sophia in the story would be Queen Ananasa, who would have been the Weaver's hopes and dreams. Order, the best wishes that Order could have made for us was made in Queen Ananasa. She is captured by the Tragic Worm. The Defiler Worm, the Demiurge in our story, in an attempt to take back the Balance Worm, sees that she has an option between the Balance Worm and Queen Ananasa to take from the Weaver. The Weaver doesn't know this. And instead of freeing the Balance Worm and restoring herself to becoming her true original self, she abandons the Balance Worm and instead takes Queen Ananasa with her. And she drags her down into Malpheus. And the Rokia implied with the Legend of the Pearl, that was Queen Ananasa, the Pearl. Whoever has that pearl controls humanity. Now the worm has their hands on it. The worm is now teaching humanity what sin is. They're teaching them what destruction is, the concepts of war, the concept of hatred, envy, lusting for your neighbor, lusting for your neighbor's possessions, gluttony, pride before the fall. All of these ideas are now entering the minds of people because the Weaver has Queen Ananasa in custody. And the worm has Queen Ananasa in custody. The Weaver has been trying to get Queen Ananasa back, but that's impossible. The Weaver cannot make a direct attack on the Tragic Worm. And the scary implication is because the Weaver knows that she's going to lose that fight if she makes a direct assault. So instead, she's taken a step back. You have the Ananasi, who are doing everything they can to try to save Queen Ananasa, and the cast of Ananasi who are aligned with the Weaver are doing everything they can alongside the Weaver to develop what they need, plot what they need, think as hard as they can to get Ananasa back. But it's not good enough. After all, they tried doing that with the werewolves, they tried doing that with the Korax, and the best they could do was chip the orb that Queen Ananasa was stuck in. But through that chip, Queen Ananasa can talk with the Ananasi again, and the Ananasi are content with that. After all, it's better to hear Sophia's voice than not at all. If you can't save her from the depths of the Demiurge's realm, you can just live with what you've got. And that's what the Ananasi have been doing. They've been waiting for the apocalypse to happen in hopes they can save their mother and the ideal
And they've been
human.
And they've been hearing all the messages from their mother from that little tiny hole.
So in case you're wondering why humanity seems to kind of suck in the World of Darkness, it's because the worm took humanity away from the Weaver. But what would have humanity looked like with the Weaver? How quickly would we have progressed if we stayed in the Weaver's control? And what would the world look like today? Would we look like, say, the kind of future that Futurama envisioned in 8000 BC. We would have developed that quickly.
I'm pretty sure that the Wild would have gotten involved at some point and say, "Yeah, this is boring."
Yeah,
and probably would have reset everything.
Probably would have had
the Wild
Atlantis.
Yeah, he's got multiple worlds where he can just hit the reset button and then jump over to another world. He's got
So
Pangea,
yeah,
he's
maybe
got
there was Atlantis.
The original draft. No, there is Atlantis. That means the Ascension.
So
Oh,
I had a question, like what were the 3 tools that the Weaver gave humanity? And apparently they're dogma, technology, and something else.
Let's see, dogma, technology, and let's see, 3 gifts of the Weaver. It is dogma. It is technology. Kyle,
And,
how would you?
And science. That's it.
That's it. Yeah. And with those 3 things, that's what separates humanity from everything else. Where you could boil down the concepts into those 3 things. Because after all, have you seen a wolf or a dog form a religion?
no, but apes have started doing that.
Yeah,
And I've seen a dog fetch me a beer.
Can we pull up the video of Count Dracula's Monkey War?
No, you'll not.
I'm still laughing about that Monkey War.
I kind of want to watch
Maybe
that. Now. I do like Dank's videos.
I mean, it's not new. I'm pretty sure that red ants war with black ants.
Yeah, and after all, they use social insects because that's nature's cool. Nature's fucking lit.
Really is.
I'm surprised. Like, what's the why is it that the Weaver favored spider as opposed to ants? Because ants are very, very Weaverish.
It's the perfect being. It creates, it preserves, it kills. It does all 3 things. It builds with the web, it preserves by keeping you in the web, and it kills you within the web by drinking the blood.
But the ants do the same thing as well.
Is it because they
create, they preserve, and they actually can kill in numbers.
Well, who's going to win a fight between an ant and a spider?
You're getting enough ants out there.
Yeah, exactly. If you have enough ants.
Ants together strong.
Well, I mean, yeah, I remember reading a green text about how like an army of ants took down an entire hornet's nest.
So if Chronicles knew what they were talking about, maybe the God Machine's direct minions would look like ants.
Maybe, but I don't know. Spiders are cool, so it doesn't matter.
Can you imagine the mind loop?
And they can build webs, I guess you could say. So.
The loop it would throw you through in Chronicles of Darkness, where you take on the forces of the army of God, and they all look like ant angels.
That'd be wild. Biblically accurate angels.
Biblically accurate ants.
So, going forward,
Going forward, well, human history happens. You have Cain, who would build the first city, followed by the second city, followed by all the stories in the Book of Genesis with Abraham, father of nations, and all the history going on in China with the Wanxian, and you would have human development. While the Weaver didn't necessarily control humanity anymore, the Weaver could still whisper ideas into human minds, and alongside the Wild, gave people the inspiration to continue to build. You stopped using stone weapons. Instead, you found out how to smith. You discovered ore. You made bronze. You made steel. You made armor, swords, pickaxes, shovels with those materials. And through doing so, you learned that you could craft better structures. You made two-storied buildings made out of stone instead of grass and wood. You made ships that were seaworthy. You built roads. You built sewer systems. You built castles, fortresses, monuments that are still around that we can still admire. And humanity would just continue to advance and grow. And basically, human history is the Weaver's history. Every single human advancement, the Weaver can take some credit for that. And that's why the history section in this book, you really can just fast forward through this because a lot of this text is fluff, like in the Book of the Weaver.
We're the Weaver. We let humanity build a bunch of cool shit.
Yeah, and
there are no slip ups in that. In that,
well, you would occasionally mess up. You would eventually, sometimes you just wouldn't develop quickly enough. You would make a sewer system in England, and that led to the Black Plague because you're shitting in the middle of the street and nobody's picking it up.
Well, there are noticeable events in human history. Like, what about the what's it called? The
nuclear bomb?
No, I was talking about like the Middle Ages, the Age of Reason or something like that.
The Order of Reason.
Well, the Order of we will get into the Technocracy. They started off as something the Weaver would be all into until they would spin off and become something else. I will reiterate these points when we do the Technocracy episode. The Order of Reason would be started off by two blokes from the Order of Hermes that got their hands on those manuscripts of Atlantis, a great city that was far advanced compared to everything else in the world that they used in order to make high-tech magic. Compare Final Fantasy IX with Final Fantasy VII. You're casting a fireball, but you're doing so in two very different ways.
I never played Final Fantasy IX.
What you get? Oh, it's nice, but VII's the one that everybody remembers.
Yep.
Shame. But you're casting fireball the same way, but with the magic of the Order of Hermes, you just drew some circles, you put a triangle inside of a circle, you said some words, you shot a fireball. With the Order of Reason, you built a gun that is rubbing sulfur against flint that causes a chain chemical reaction that shoots a fireball. It's the same spell in two very different ways. This group would continue to grow, and after Tremere does the thing and causes the Order of Hermes to collapse as a faction, the Order of Reason would take its place as the strongest tradition of all the mages, and they would continue to grow and grow over the course of centuries until Queen Elizabeth, who knew about the Order of Reason, gathered them all together and said, "You will no longer be the Order of Reason. You will be the Technocracy. You will be my sponsored mages, and through my money and through my guidance, you will dominate all of humanity and create one global empire." And so they did.
God damn it, Lizzie.
Yep, now you've got the Technocracy, a group of mages so big and so bad, they cannot be destroyed other than by themselves. The only way you're going to get rid of the Technocracy is if they turn and cannibalize themselves, or they already have because of Threatenol. A bunch of scientists want to be out in outer space while the seventh great maelstrom was happening, scooped up a whole bunch of them, destroy their avatars, and then turn them into the Borg from Star Trek, basically.
So how do we continue to talk about the book without getting too sidetracked and talking about Mage, because we want to preserve that for the next video.
Yeah, especially when we talk about the Technocracy.
Yeah, because the Book of the Weaver is more about ideas. And same thing with the Technocrats. They don't venerate the Weaver. What the Technocrats want is a pro-human only future. They want humanity to advance to the state of gods. They're using the tools of the Wild, the Weaver, and the Worm.
Right, and the ideas in the book are kind of provoking, like the sidetracking to Mage again.
Yeah. So they can eventually break away from the Wild, the Weaver, and the Worm, and eventually you would have the no gods, no kings, only man kind of future with the Technocracy.
Little Andrew Ryan up in there.
But it's a tyranny that is so strict that even the Weaver herself disagrees with it. Because what is the Weaver's ultimate goal? She has become so sick of the Treadic Worm that she has come to one conclusion. Taco Tuesday. She's going to get a gigantic bottle of spray glue and spray the entire planet with it. And everything will be perfectly preserved. Nothing will be made. Nothing will be destroyed. Everything will stay this way forever. Just quit touching my things. I want my things to be where they are forever so I can sit in eternal silence and just enjoy what I made.
See,
who does that?
Here's the thing, Weaver. It's not your
the Weaver
shit.
Does that?
Because we still want to live.
But Weaver doesn't want things to stay the same. The Weaver wants things to improve.
So that's why she hasn't done it yet. She's waiting for the peak to happen. And the Weaver's trying to expedite this, because would you say we're advancing a little too quickly as a human race?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Yep.
Maybe now, actually.
Well, no, I think we're just advancing in all of the wrong ways. We could have had incredible nuclear power that nobody mismanaged 30 years ago, and because some communists fucked it up and one bureaucrat in New York fucked it up, and a tsunami in Japan fucked it up. Now we can't have nuclear power.
Mm-hmm. Got all this
Well,
shit getting in the
it
way.
was capitalism was the one that kind of advanced technology very, very quickly.
You
I know.
decided you wanted to destroy the entire economy of Germany by putting them on coal dependence forever. When you could have made a nuclear power plant.
Yes. They had nuclear power. They had some of the most advanced nuclear power in Europe.
And you wasted all this money on wind turbines that caused just as much environmental destruction by killing birds.
Yep.
And
they're scared of Chernobyl.
And then once the wind turbine breaks, you've got all those blades and machine parts in a landfill that pollute the environment just the same.
All the microplastics and fiberglass.
There's this whole plot of land that I drive past at work sometimes, where it's this crappy ass place where you've got a car dealership, and then a gas station and a small shopping area where I think there was like a tattoo parlor there or some shit. And I'm looking around and you've got all this land and none of it's being developed. I looked into it. I thought, why is this the case? It's because you've got all these car batteries that were buried underneath it because that area used to be a landfill. And all the soil is toxic. You can't do anything with that land with this electrical shit. And instead you want to continue to build stuff that when you bury it, that land becomes toxic and you can't use that land for anything. But no, wind turbines are the future. Solar panels are the future too.
Motherfucker, we harnessed the atom in the 1950s, and we still run everything on gas.
I drove past a solar farm, and I haven't been that disgusted in a while. Just seeing that.
You could just take those batteries probably have some sort of chemicals in it that could be reused. Just take a metal detector and bury all them out.
Instead of banning all this shit, how about you get a scientist to actually find out how we can burn this stuff cleaner?
Or better yet,
get somebody
nuclear power.
There we go.
It's 20,000 times more efficient than oil or coal.
Kyle, you going nuclear on me?
Oh, I've been nuclear.
Now, the Weaver is waiting.
Extract graphene from the carbon emissions.
That makes sense. The Weaver's waiting for us to hit that point. She wants us to peak, and then when that happens, she's going to get as much power as she can from the deep Umbra, pull it up, use that to fuel the spray glue gun, and then spray the planet with it. And then everything will be perfect. Nothing will fall. No apocalypse will happen. There will be no apocalypse. None of this will be destroyed. It's just going to be the best it could possibly be. It became the best. There it is. There it is forever. That's what the Weaver wants.
And that's why I hate the Weaver.
Yeah. Because she's ultimately waiting with that spray glue gun above your head, waiting to freeze you.
Yeah. I hate the Weaver for that. No, it's no. Things need to get better. Things need to get worse before they get better. Things need to go up and down. There needs to be a give and take. There needs to be this thing that you fucking left behind called balance, which you now forego all the time just to make things better and better, when in fact they're not. You're tearing away all the things that make life and humanity so goddamn fun and interesting, and in doing so, you destroy everything that you wanted to create. Fuck the Weaver.
Is that an indictment of too much order? Where you have too much order, nothing new can be made, and everything's too rigid to be destroyed. Because we've seen that happen several times in history with different tyrannies. Would you say the Soviet Union was a very creative place?
Yeah, no, it was not.
They made some very good
actually,
music.
yes, it was, because because of the conflict that was involved. It's conflict that creates culture. It's the downtrodden that creates that.
Yeah. Against other people, that you pushed America to become the best country it could possibly be through conflict, but within your own land.
Also, just to say a quote that Ryan Reynolds said: "There's the greatest enemy to creativity is too much time and money."
Within your own borders. Was anyone getting rich? Was anyone developing their own businesses? Was anyone changing their life and their prospects? No, you have one car, Lada, which is the only car we will ever drive for all time. You're developing your farm pretty quickly. I think you're eating too much food for yourself. I think you have too much food. I'm going to forcibly seize your farm and distribute that somewhere else. I'm going to take your animals. I'm going to give them to other people. And I'm going to take things that you're developing too quickly with, and divide that out because I'm the order that prevents stuff from being created. And all of your artwork around this time is about how much your own country sucks.
Yeah, basically. Or how much your country is so much better than those goddamn capitalist heathens over there. What with their color
seen
TV and their Kool-Aid, being all smart and shit.
I've seen Fiddler on the Roof. I know what communism does to the ordinary people.
Yep.
And you can buy that. You look at where we are now with America, where we're in a shithole country that's going closer and closer to becoming a totalitarian country.
It's fun and exciting times.
Yeah, I love it where my own personal freedoms are being taken away from me, where I can't say rape on YouTube without getting demonetized. Yeah, guess what? I just said it because I don't care about these rules.
We also don't get paid to do
this.
this
At the very
anyway.
least.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to say that you're at a very pinnacle moment in history.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of living through historical events. Can things go back to being boring, please?
Like, why is it that if everyone's trying to control me? Everybody's trying to control what I say, what I think, what I do. Look at our Pentex video. We were talking about a fake company, and YouTube thought we were talking about a real company and censored that video.
Yeah, it was bullshit.
How fucking stupid that was.
Because
I'm
living
living
on
in,
Rumble instead. I don't know.
I'm living in a country where I'm saying freedom of speech and freedom of the press is a fucking joke. Neither of those things are real. Because if I had free speech, why are you trying to control what I say? And if I had a free press, why is it controlled by 6 media moguls that censor and micromanage their staff to hell and back and decide what stories can and can't be shared?
Because it's their company. They get to do and say whatever they want.
So it's not free press, is it?
No, it is not.
Well, yeah, because it's not a public service. If it was a public service, then you could do whatever you
create
want.
your own. But don't worry, we're also going to, make sure that no one trusts you either. But you can make your own, but nobody will listen to you.
It's why
You can make your you can make your own, but you know what? You have to compete with a whole bunch of big billionaire companies that can probably just take you down anyway.
It's why legacy media keeps going after YouTube. Legacy media keeps going after Joe Rogan and other independent creators who don't censor themselves and go along with these bullshit rules.
Yep.
That's
Anyway,
that's
where were we?
that's what we're still talking about. Too much order. When you got something that's what the Weaver's turned into. When you've got something that's too much order, you can't get anything new out of that. And that's the big issue with the Weaver and why the Weaver is the secret villain of Werewolf of the Apocalypse.
But here's a question.
Yes.
Do you think the Weaver regrets anything that she does?
No.
No.
Well, she did make a mistake of actually imprisoning the worm. Do you think she regrets that?
Absolutely not.
In the Apocalypse scenario, Times of Judgment, she does have that whole reconciliation scene with the worm in her own scenario where she destroys the world. And that's only because she and the worm don't have anything left to fight over. The only way the Weaver's going to realize that she's an idiot is if you destroy Gaia. And only when she's got nothing to gain is she going to realize what she's done. That's the only way that you can really redeem the Weaver by this point. You just have to keep... In an ironic sense, you have to rely on the worm to keep the Weaver in check by this point.
Well, if the Weaver really is self-aware, then there should be a room for regret.
Mm-hmm. She could feel that, but she's pushing it aside, saying, I've got a job to do. I've got to reach the peak of human advancement and invention. And the job comes before my own personal feelings.
I mean,
at the end of the day,
but she doesn't regret making that or even imprisoning a Nancy.
No, that she says that had to happen with her. Yeah, from her and her own infinite wisdom.
No, she thinks it had to happen because she got mad that the worm was doing his job.
And that Ananasi has been talking and compromising with the wild. There can't be a compromise. I'm right all the time, says the Weaver. And it's that megalomania that really gives the Weaver that unlikable quality, because she's got so many totalitarian and despot character traits to her when you look at her from other perspectives.
And you lot already know how I feel about that.
And there's another character in World of Darkness that has a similar goal to her, right? Lucifer,
Yes. Fuck that guy.
the intellect that falls in love with himself, is what Lucifer is.
See, I thought he's a swell guy loving humanity and all that, but no, he's no better than the Weaver.
Yeah, because going off of Gnostic texts as well, where Lucifer in all the stuff that we refer to him as comes from Paradise Lost, and other like Christian heretical ideas have taken Lucifer and have kind of deified him, and that's why it's heresy. You're putting a god before God. That's why I hate when people say, "Oh, that's Satan. That's Satan getting control of you." No, that's heresy. You just don't realize what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like, because I think what God programmed Lucifer to do was to, love humanity just like him, and like with our heart. And I think Lucifer took that too much to heart, and he wanted to basically stop it, even God himself, from actually harming humans altogether.
Yeah, because
punishing humans altogether.
He's the arrogance of humanity, where he insists that you need to stop harming me. You need to stop putting adversary in my way. You need to stop telling me that there's some sort of higher power I'm supposed to raise to. I don't believe in that, and I'm going to take humanity under my own control. And I'm going to. That's
it is a very Weaver thing, though. Like, it's like, imagine like you buy a Ruber vacuum cleaner. It's like, clean the floors, and you come back the next day, and the Ruber is like, don't touch the floors, Dan. You're not allowed to step there.
Yeah, basically.
Heck, it's once again, it's too much order. Lucifer loves humanity too much and refuses to let humanity fail. What Lucifer's ultimate dream is to turn the world into a dollhouse, where everything you do is Barbie land. Lucifer just comes down, picks you up out of bed, moves you around, puts your clothes on, feeds you breakfast, picks you out of your house, puts you in the car, decides what your day's going to be, and everything is safe, everything's plastic, nothing's going to hurt you, no conflict is ever going to come your way, everything is just going to be safe, and that'll just be your life forever, and nobody will die.
Congratulations, you've just ruined everything you loved about humanity.
You will own nothing, and you will be happy.
Basically,
it's the whole shtick of the devouring mother and the overbearing father, where you're so scared of your own child getting hurt, and you lack faith in your own kid and what you love the most, that you want to destroy their lives and overtake their lives and make them live for you. And that's why Lucifer is the enemy of Demon the Fallen. Because if you truly loved me that much, would you not let me make my own decisions? That's the damning question of Lucifer in World of Darkness. And why, even though he says he wants what's best for you, he's wrong. Everything he does is wrong.
Yep.
And because he has pride that will always be in a perpetual fall, he will never acknowledge his own wrongdoings. He'll never acknowledge his own failure. And the similarities between him and the Weaver, because they both want the same thing, but in very different ways. And it's just a very interesting parallel between the two. Because...
Indeed.
Do you think they've ever spoken?
It's very interesting.
Because I've brought up before on this channel before. You remember I brought up Aeon on the channel, Carl Jung?
I recall you did. Yeah, the you were talking about the theory that you read about. It was like the diamond of, the opposite of humanity.
Yeah, where if you look at my Discord, what's that below your username, like your subtitle or something, your description?
Oh yeah,
where
your
I've
profile.
I've got the four quadrangles: Moses, Shadow, Paradise, and Lapis, and that's it's your ideal self. The ideal human is Moses at the top, where that's as perfect as a human can get. The Shadow being your dark aspects of yourself. Paradise being focused on a material, and then Lapis being you are material. And if we were to have an Antichrist, it would come from the Lapis side, not the Shadow side. After all...
Oh, man.
Yeah, we're going to get religious on you, Dan.
No, it's Carl Jung. He's just so confusing. It hurts my brain.
You have to read you have to like read the book begin to end to really understand the idea. That's why I'm saying go out and read Aeon.
Boring. Talk about werewolves.
No, because we're about to talk about the machine. We gotta bring up this book. Because
Oh my god.
Because after all,
the Weaver. That's the reason why maybe I hate the Weaver so much, because he's so boring when he gets all freaking philosophical and all that shit.
Because Dan, you remember there's a totem in this game called Machine Messiah, right?
No.
So here's the thing. If you were to have an opposite of a Messiah, which is a human born from a human mother conceived by a god, then the anti-version of that would be nothing human at all, nothing divine at all. It comes strictly from the material. And who's to say that what the Weaver would create that would destroy the world comes entirely from the material? Say it's AI, say it's machine software, and get all together.
You're losing me.
You just don't want to interact with this idea, do you?
It's because you're going very, very fast. It's hard to me to soak everything that you're saying. I'm sorry. It's just...
So, look, what he's basically saying is that the perfect Antichrist would be something that, isn't human and wasn't made by humans. A self-propagating machine.
Yes.
Wasn't human. Well, yeah.
And what is AI?
Yeah.
That is man-made.
It is, but
so when
there
an AI constructed by an AI, or say machines created by artificial intelligence, is the form that Antichrist would take.
Ah.
That's
so when AI develops its own AI, that's when we need to panic.
Yes.
Yes. And given that I took that compiler test and I put it in ChatGPT and it made a working code, then now's the time to start sweating. Now's the time to start sweating bullets.
Yep. To quote Futurama, we're boned.
This is it. This is it. This is how the world ends. Not through the worm, not through Satanism or anything like that, but through leaning too heavily into order and your own creation surpasses you.
And look at that.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
True.
The Wild has his fingers very close to the reset button. Don't worry.
You just gotta hope that he reaches down, raptures you into Pangea, and then starts the story all over again.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Otherwise, you wind up in I have no mouth and I must scream. And we all know how that turned out.
Happy because the protagonist died like they wanted to?
4 of them did, 1 didn't.
Oh, okay.
And this is what's so spooky about the Weaver to me, because she has her own totem broods with Digital Eye, Machine Messiah, totems like that don't reflect anything involved in nature. Sure, you have the Bonars with Great Trash Heap. You have General Lee as a totem. But that's stuff that the Bonars have sentimental value to, and that's stuff that they use. They like General Lee as a totem because they love Dukes of Hazzards. That's the personification of their culture. And the Glassworkers have Clashing Boom Boom because it's their war goddess that they've been worshipping since Rome that has advanced alongside them, taking the form of their deadliest weapons, along with Easy Credit and Almighty Dala, who are constructs that the Glassworkers used to gain power. With these heavily Weaver-aligned totems, it only represents itself. It doesn't rely on you serving it. It doesn't rely on you seeing sentimental value in it. It is machine spirits that just represent machine spirits. That's the danger behind these.
So this leads me to a question that actually I was going to prepare.
Yes.
So for other werewolf tribes that aren't Glasswalker or Bonar, when is a fetish or even a weapon considered to be too Weaver for their case? Because we know that the Get use guns in combat, but when would a gun or a weapon be considered to be too Weaver? Until the other guard would start questioning their actions,
Then it gets too far into that. Well, we had that answer with the Cyber Dogs.
When you start
Glasswalker,
good.
Yeah, the Glassworkers who were pulling out their hearts and lungs and replacing them with machine parts, just for the sake of saying, this is better than my heart that I was born with. I'm going to discard a piece of me and replace it with a manufactured, factory-stamped, synthetic organ that I could just get anywhere else, anyone else could use, while my heart is uniquely made for myself and only myself. That's when something gets too Weaver.
Yeah, because there are a lot of there's spirits in everything, right?
Yes.
That's the theology. So theoretically, there are more man-made things in existence now than there are actual natural things that have been created.
Yes.
Which means that there are a lot of more Weaver spirits than there are just Gaian spirits or wild spirits or even worm spirits, maybe. I'm not sure. But
that's when something gets too Weaver. When you intentionally debilitate yourself to make you rely on the technology, that's when something's too Weaver.
When you reject the weakness of your flesh, the one that Gaia had given you.
The Adeptus Mechanicus.
Yeah, basically, they're all Weaver. And as you know, go to Mars, talk to the machine gods, and then tear out the implants before it's too late.
Hey, brother Magus, put this artillery shell on my back. Just do it.
So if that's the case, then Golgar Fangs first has already rejected the weakness of his body and resulted in just the 2 mini machine guns that he uses.
Because he does have synthetic parts to his body, but think about how he got those. He didn't ask to lose his arms. He got those added to his body because he lost the original thing and could not regenerate that back. It wasn't his choice to get the machine gun arms. It was convenience and serendipity and happenstance that led to him getting those arms. So
sure.
I wouldn't necessarily call that Weaver, but if he went out and said, go ahead, cut off my arm at the shoulder, put all these miniguns and rocket launchers on my body, then that's falling to the Weaver.
I mean, he could have said no. He could have rejected that.
Yeah, and if you just replaced him with gigantic clave blades, then that would be a little bit more wild in nature.
I mean, there was the Garrow that got his arm cut off and then made it into a fetish weapon.
But here's the thing: even knives are actually Weaver because
it's steel.
How do you think?
Yeah,
exactly. It's steel.
Yeah, it's human invention, which is where you gotta carefully draw the line. Because what are you using this for? Is it a tool or is it something you're dependent on?
Right, and I mean, in my game, what my rule of thumb was, if you're gonna be going less Weaver as possible, if you use a gun, I would say that auto fire would be 2 Weaver. Whereas if you're going to be doing semi-automatic or lever action, I would say that would be more wild.
Burst fire. Something like that.
Yeah.
Where that's why the Glassworkers are seen as falling to the Weaver. Because so many of them have no points in Brawl and have dumped strength as a stat, and are instead picking up these gigantic guns and are using them as weapons. That it's cool as shit. It's literally the coolest thing in the world to see them go in with the Doom chain gun and fight the worm using that. But what are you going to do when you run out of bullets? What are you going to do when somebody runs up to you, rusts your gun with worm magic, and then that gun falls apart? You ain't got shit otherwise. You're too dependent on your swords and your guns to be effective fighters.
This is one thing that Chronicles of Darkness did do well. Was that they gave every single firearm a strength requirement, so that if you do use a firearm, you have to be able to handle the recoil of it.
Yes. Otherwise, it flies out your hand like that one with the stockless shotgun.
And then the Glassworkers can look at their guns and say, "Hey, you're too heavy. Can you make yourself lighter so I can use you better?"
I say bring back strength requirements for weapons. If you're going to dual wield 2 AK-47s, you have to have the strength for it.
Yeah, or otherwise you'll break your shoulders.
You can do what Father Evergreen did in our Hunter game, and what Father Evergreen did in dual wield sniper rifles.
Jesus, how did he do that?
He didn't do it. We had to take away one of the guns.
Yeah, I mean, you could, just you wouldn't do it well.
And if it works, it works.
Because why is that the glass?
It was possible in GoldenEye.
Yes.
What do the Glassworkers have if they don't have their technology? You've got all this money. you've got the businesses, you've got the guns, you've got the armor, you've got the cloning. If we take that away from you, do you have anything? There you go.
Their love for humanity.
Their love for humanity, and that's it. But who else loves humanity? Half the tribes do. And that's why the Glasswalkers are considered to be fallen to the Weaver, because you let your technological advancements.
I mean, love is a strong word. I'd say more like humanity as a friend.
Because the children of Gaia, the Bonars, the Fianna, and the Black Furies with half the human race, and the Tenna with most races, love humanity. Meanwhile, the Glasswalkers, they love you, but they need an iPhone and cash to do so. That's what.
We only love you while you're doing work.
We only love you while you're still on the clock. They have that whole like PSA video saying, "Hey, welcome to working for the Glasswalker Company. We are so happy we're here. You're a valued part of the team.
We're like a family at this company. Here's a pizza party."
Yeah, yeah. Here's a little goodies that are going to keep you employed with us.
We're going to Disney school.
See, oh, by the way, our tax policy changed. You now owe $500 in taxes this year.
The best.
Wonderful. I love it. It's life is just good enough for the Glasswalkers, and they don't realize just how this is a weakness. The Gaia Fenris don't need the guns because they are the Gaia Fenris. They're badasses by nature. You go in, if you have your hands cut off, Gorgol Fangs versus punching with the nubs of his bone and caving in faces with that, and he's making progress. The Silver Fangs.
Well, that's debatable. I mean, because
you could get more done with the technology, right? But you're not reliant on it. When you run out of bullets, you've got your teeth and your claws that you can rely on. And with the Silver Fangs, yes, they have all of the mystic tools, and they do rely heavily on the sun and the moon giving them the exclusive gifts, but they have the leadership, and while they still have the respect, command the Guru Nation. The Shadow Lords have their smarts. The Children of Gaia have their compassion and connections. The Bonars, their determination. The Fianna, their determination. The Glasswalkers don't really have anything anymore besides the technology. It went from being the ends to a mean, the means to an end, to the means to the means with the Glasswalkers.
Well, hold on though. What in terms of the Fianna though? They pride themselves on the creation of weavery things. They pride themselves on the creation of the Garu language. They pride themselves on the creation of the first fetish. You know?
Yeah, they pride themselves on it, but they don't hang that over people's heads. They don't remind you in every conversation.
Are you sure?
Yeah. The Fianna love getting drunk. They love boasting, but they're not. They don't let the language and the history be their only defining factors.
Hey, they rely on. Hey, tell that to an alcoholic Fianna who actually who needs alcohol in order to survive.
What?
That's an invention of the worm. It fermented.
I heard you talk shite. What's up?
After all, they're also doing the wild tube. They're going off in the woods. They're finding DMT off an acacia tree and boiling the bark into a tea, and then they drink the tea.
Oh, that was a Good Friday. That was.
Yeah.
Well, what are the Fianna without alcohol? What are the Fianna without? Actually, is passion even a Weaver thing?
I'll tell you what the Fianna are.
Passion is a wild thing. We discussed that last week.
Yeah. It's passion. Right. Yeah, passion. Because the Fianna have family. They have each other. If all else is gone, if the world falls around us, we can at least rely on our wives, our children, and our parents to be there for us. While the Glasswalkers.
But here's the thing, though. You need the Weaver in order to tell who is family and who is not.
Yeah. You have because the Weaver made that construct. But having a family in of itself is not necessarily of the Weaver.
Yeah.
Because after all, animals have families.
Yeah.
Families
exist in nature.
Wolves living in den with each other. Monkeys are taking care of their kids. Where breastfeeding with monkeys is how the mother bonds with the child. Where animals will care about each other when they die. And they have familiar units. every animal family works a little bit differently. It's just that humans, when we think of family between each other, it's a different connotation because with the human mind and human values, we have more to our families than an animal family does. At the end of the day.
Yes.
So even though the Weaver makes the concept in and of itself does not directly venerate the Weaver.
Yes.
And thinking about what else we've got. We talked about the Glasswalkers. We talked about the Technocracy. The two do not get along. No, absolutely not. The Glasswalkers want a Weaver-reliant future, while the Technocracy want a pro-human future. You can see why the two don't get along.
Yes. They
Yeah,
like the tools of the Weaver. The Technocracy is like humanity. Fuck yeah.
Did I send you the pages about that?
About the Technocracy? You sent me the start of it, like the overview of the Technocracy.
Yeah, that the two don't get along because they have two very different end goals. Because
yes,
yeah, it's was it with Deus Ex? It's the JC bonding with the AI at the end for the Glasswalkers, and JC siding with the Illuminati for the Technocracy. The difference between the two.
So the Glasswalkers do not want the Cyberdogs.
They wanted the Cyberdogs until the random interrupts saw that the Werewolf Nation was about to kill them for doing that, and then, like the Judases that the Glasswalkers are, killed their own in order to prevent them from dying at the hands of every other werewolf pack.
So, speaking of Deus Ex,
yeah.
So they categorize technologies differently. There's mundane tech,
yes,
technomagic, and Weaver tech. What are the differences between all of them, though?
The Weaver wants you to have the newest thing. The Weaver wants you to have cutting edge.
Get the iPhone 16.
Yeah, we can't just let you use a sword. The sword has to be hot and vibrate. That's what you need to have. That's the kind of sword you need. We call it the high-frequency blade. You can use it in Metal Gear Solid. There it is. And now it's real. And now it's in your hands. This is the kind of sword you need. And we're going to trick you to thinking that an average sword, it sucks in comparison to the cutting edge. You need the new thing. The new thing is better. It's new. It has to be good, therefore, by definition of being new.
So that's Weaver tech?
Yes. If the new thing, as soon as the new improved version comes out, the old technology becomes worthless, you swap it out, and you get the new thing. The whole... you got a bit of like a consumerism aspect to it.
So it's interesting how they actually just... But here's another thing. Here's an interesting way they describe mundane tech, quote unquote, and what their definition of it. Pretty much anything, this is quote unquote, pretty much anything encountered or expected in the real world.
Yes.
As a rule of thumb, anything in a sci-fi film which evokes, wow, that's neat, reactions, as opposed to, what the, question mark?
Yeah.
So in parentheses, Batman's complex belt-mounted grappling hooks versus Star Wars' lightsabers, I guess.
Yeah, it's gotta be something that's new and out of the hands of the public. The same kind of gadgets you see the technocrats using for their spells.
I don't know. No technology makes me go like, yo, what the fuck? But they just say, oh, that's pretty neat. Nothing really surprises me anymore.
See, well, if we had the technology that you saw in Call of Duty Black Ops 2, that game is only 1 year away from happening in real life. Woo, 2025.
Cool. Where's Raul Menendez?
Yeah. If we had the Solarium worm, how much would that blow your mind? If we had a piece of military grade tech that could infiltrate any country's military infrastructure and destroy it within a single day, and leave an entire country defenseless that way, would that blow your mind?
Nothing blows my mind anymore because we're living in a time where technology increases so much. Like, it doesn't surprise me.
And therefore, and now we have changing the dreaming come into play with banality.
Or maybe we have peaked.
There it is. That spray gun's ready. Because I'm sure that in the 90s and early 2000s when this book was being written, AI was mind blowing. But now we're talking about it at the water cooler, on the commute to work. We're hearing it on the radio. It's no longer this crazy thing that's out of reach. It's something we already have.
Oh yeah.
Same thing with hypersonic jet planes for commercial flights, where a flight that would have taken 8 hours will instead take 1. That's slowly something that's becoming accessible. That's something that we will have in the near future. So it's got to be something absolutely crazy. So the bar has been placed so high with Reaver tech, you now need the teleportation pad that takes you to the moon.
Like, the only thing that actually surprised, it's not the tech that makes me go, what the fuck, but more of like things that you have done with tech that make me go, what the fuck.
You made your smartphone screen bigger so you can watch porn on it. There you go. That's a what the fuck moment.
yeah, that's more of a what the fuck moment, exactly.
See, if you want to talk about gadgets, if you want to talk about the gadgets now, we can talk about the gadgets.
Totally, let's do it.
Okay.
I have that.
You want to begin with the Animus Energy Alternate Adapter?
That sounds promising.
It's basically an improved pacemaker that gives you pluses to your soak damage.
Shaped like a flux capacitor.
That's cool.
Well, we'll just slap this onto your heart, and behold, +2 to stamina. There you go, bombs away. There's
also a technology in here that actually exists in the real world, but nobody uses it because it's too expensive to make.
See, tell me what it is when it comes up.
All right.
So you want to talk about the Armalite Stayer 115 assault rifle? The best gun ever made. It fires what?
So go ahead.
It fires 7.62 millimeter caseless ammunition cartridges, where the gun has, difficulty 8 for full auto, 7 for a 3-round burst. Difficulty to fire the gun 6 with you. No, sorry, I said the wrong thing. It comes with a grenade launcher, an M203 grenade launcher that's difficulty 6 to fire and shoots up to a range of 440 yards. And
is that what it looks like in that next picture in the next page?
Here, post it in here real quick so we can put it up.
Yeah. Do you see it?
It doesn't look that impressive for like what was it? A 75 millimeter round?
Yeah, but here's the thing with the firing rate on this. You can dump all 25 bullets within the clip in a single round. Just all because you're seeing in Hunter Reckoning just how much damage you're doing, and that's with the Stayer Uzi. And that gun's a piece of shit.
So what caliber is this?
7.62.
Okay,
so it's not an M34 an AK cartridge.
I thought it was.
Yes.
I thought you were saying. I was thinking like 75 caliber. I'm like, holy shit, that small thing.
And every individual bullet deals 8 damage.
Jesus.
So that's enough to kill something in one shot. You do not need to fire all 25.
But you can. It's a really big fucker.
How does that make sense? It doesn't even look that big.
Yeah.
Here, send me the picture.
Thanks to Reaver Tech, it'll just and you fire all the bullets at one time.
Send me the picture, please.
But it says each bullet does 8 damage, though. That's what it says.
Yeah, every bullet does 8 damage.
Hold on, I'm gonna do a quick.
I'm gonna beat you to it.
Everything's a competition with Johnny.
There's your page. There you go.
There we go. Okay, this is
there we go.
Yeah, that it's
Yay,
just
Ryan, there he is.
You know what it kind of? Hello, Ryan. You know what that gun kind of looks like? It kind of looks like the fucking DMR from Halo Reach.
Yeah,
it kind of looks like a FAMAS.
Yeah, a FAMAS. Yeah.
Yeah.
What guy?
Or an F2000. In usual chat.
Ah.
Next up is your cybernetics, where this is your alloyed endoskeleton, your Lexial database, your myomer musculature, your ocular recognition system, all these different little cybernetic add-ons that just give you a flat increase to your attributes.
That's all cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Shit.
Behold, Johnny Silverhand, ahoy.
If I want your body, I'll fuck it.
Wait the fuck up, samurai. We got a city to burn. Next up, the Bombless Magazine.
Which, I think that's self-explanatory.
Yes.
This is the one that exists in real life, but it's too expensive to make.
See, that one is literally just fists full of thunder imbued into a magazine.
Yeah, all you need is to shape the chamber like an infinity symbol, and you will have infinite ammo.
That's funny as shit.
What?
Yes.
That's okay. First off, how does that make sense? Okay, what you have to do is like have like a very, 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 very long, like a chain magazine, and like at the very, very end of it is like somebody actually building and making the the bullets and putting them into every single one as it's being fired.
Kyle, can you give me the picture of the triangular staircase that looks like a paradox, and it's a staircase that goes on forever?
Hang on.
You just need to shape the magazine like that, and then you'll have infinite ammo.
Oh no, it's not that. It's the Escher stairs. There they are.
Yeah, the
Let me
Escher
see.
stairs. You just need to shape them like the Escher stairs.
Yeah. Where's a good
It's like
image? Oh, here it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's as logical as like taking like a power bar and plugging it into itself.
Well, if we made this, would that make you say what the fuck? This kind of Weaver technology?
Yeah. This stuff.
See, you want to talk about
Right,
the overthruster?
staircase.
This sounds funny. I want to hear this.
See.
Brecknick overthruster.
An intricated, fist-sized massive cable in chrome, matted with turbine collars, fuel intake valves, and other electromechanical modules suitable to the target platform. The overthruster interfaces easily with any air, land, or sea-based propulsion system, although perpetual motion appears to be beyond the capabilities of even the greater Celestines. This device comes pretty close. You want to go Mark III in a Ford sedan? You can do so with this. It makes stuff faster. That's what it does.
Gotta go fast.
That is
No.
anything. So, if you want to have a rocket-powered skateboard, you can.
Yes. Literally the coolest thing ever.
I'm on board.
Rocket-powered turbo slug.
Sorry, did you lose your car and your license from your DUI and you have to drive a moped to work? Just put this on it.
Yep.
You'll be driving down the interstate in no time.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Nothing to worry about.
See. The cerebral conditioning system, where I hope this isn't real. This device, each no larger than a head, are close as the mortal world has yet come to a mind control device. That little like Elon Musk mind control chip that's being put in your head, this is what it does. It tells you what to think and when to think it.
Okay, now we're venturing into fucked shit territory.
Yep, there we go. So the NPC open the back of your head, put the new chip in me. But that's what this is.
Be angry about current thing TM.
Yes.
Sorry, I was getting a picture for you guys.
Yep.
It's basically a magic card.
Yeah.
Called
There you
Rocket Powered Turbo Slug.
Yeah, there you are. That's the picture.
What?
It's lower resolution. You gotta blow that up, but yeah, there you go.
That's funny.
Let's see what's next. Cornerstones. Countless unassuming talismans of the type that were introduced in North America during immigration and labor-intensive periods of the 20th century. When built into the foundations of buildings, these cubes of gray stone bind a sympathetic spirit into the structure of the Umbral's manifestation, thus turning the structure into a permanent structure that you can never knock down, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah, Jericho.
Yeah, all you had to do was put these in the Twin Towers and you could prevent a 9/11.
True.
That's all you had to do.
No,
Yeah,
it would have
yeah.
gone. It would have blown up anyway.
Yeah, it would have blown. Plane would have just hit it and then fallen onto the street.
That's why the leading tower of Pisa is still standing.
Yeah, piece of shit. Next up, the Dervish. It stands for Dexterous Remote Vehicle Ishapur Series.
Where have I heard the name Dervish before? What is that?
Let's see, it's got some speed related. Let's see, it is based on the full water designs of a hazmat suit. This state-of-the-art feat of mechanical engineering appears at first glance to be a metallic mock-up of a human skeleton. Network of cables, pneumatic pistons, microservers, alloyed bones. Units are frequently outfitted with mission-specific equipment such as scuba gear or any sort of deep-sea aquatic mission. What it is that it is the Big Daddy suit from BioShock.
Okay. Oh, but it's a skeleton though. So I was thinking, okay, so
Yep, but you climb into the skeleton.
Oh, I thought you like surgically install it into your.
I hope you
replace your
don't.
skeleton.
I hope you don't.
Inspector Gadget.
Ryan, you want to get deboned?
Yes.
We take all of your bones and replace them with titanium.
Give me that Harry Potter treatment.
Oh yeah, fucking his arm just like melts or some shit. It just goes limp.
It loses all the bones in his arm and it just flops.
It's like that episode of Family Guy where Peter gets a genie, wishes for a soundtrack. Somebody threatens to break his bones, so he wishes he doesn't have any bones.
I had no bones.
Right.
And let's get the bone transplant.
This is the Glasswalker bone hurting juice.
Let's see. The easy money. You want bounce checks forever? Do so with the easy money. It's money that just lasts forever, really.
Okay.
Yeah. So behold, financial fraud.
It sounds like a very Yiddish kind of talent, if you ask me.
we have one in the chat.
What do you mean by that, Danston?
I don't know, what does Yiddish mean?
The Gyro Jet pistol. Now this is crazy. Let me just read to you the stats on this. Caliber 12.7 millimeter. Difficulty to fire 8. Damage 12.
What?
12 points of damage.
That is the thing that actually exists in real life, but it doesn't do that much damage.
It is the 40K bolt gun, where it is a handgun that looks like a Desert Eagle, but it is actually shooting out a torpedo that shoots itself in midair, propels itself further, and then explodes on contact.
Yep, it actually exists, and it doesn't do. It's basically an expensive gun, an overly expensive gun. Like that, instead of using gunpowder, it shoots rockets, and it works. And you're like, huh, that's nifty.
It holds.
But I mean, like,
6 torpedoes.
It's very expensive to make, though.
6 torpedoes, and it only has a range of 40 feet.
Yeah, but if
Yeah,
you
that's
hit
not bad.
somebody with that, it'll fucking KO him in one shot.
This
Yeah.
kills
But it
most enemies
doesn't.
in the game in a single shot.
So here's the thing: if anyone's played Mission Impossible for the N64, apparently that was one of the weapons that you got because
Oh, it was.
but in that game, it worked like a miniature rocket launcher, where when you fired it, it would actually explode in somebody's face.
Mhm.
But in reality, it doesn't explode. It just behaves like a bullet. It just penetrates them.
Yeah. Just a big damn bullet you're shooting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
See,
But it fires twice, so it's more gooder, right?
see, the metamorphosis inhibitors. You want to be a changing breed at home? This is how you do it. System. The cruel implements force the wearers into a single form, usually Hamid, making it difficult or excruciatingly painful for you to shift out of your other forms. So yeah, you want to stop Grim from shifting into cross form and killing you? You just slap this device on him.
Oh,
Please
that's
don't.
not
Oh, so you don't become a shapeshifter at home.
Yes. The shapeshifter at home because it can't do anything. It sucks.
good. Yeah, but you can make somebody else suck.
Yeah, you make someone suck. See, it's the whole like we have this at home. It's like saying, "Oh, I want a pizza." We have a pizza at home, and then the crust is cardboard. The pepperonis taste like rubber, and then the cheese only covers half the pie.
Yep. So I guess you attach it to the neck, right? And they can't. And it's too
Yeah, it
difficult
takes-
for them to ship.
Yeah, it takes the form of a collar.
Yeah.
The Myrmidon exoskeleton, where if you played Infinite Warfare and you saw what the people were wearing in that game, the exoskeletons like the double jump, basically that.
That's cool.
Basically that.
What's the difference between that and the other thing that we described?
That's a diving suit that's more for toughness and making sure that the water pressure doesn't kill you. Well, this one makes you a super speedy running man with a strength score of 6.
That's not bad.
okay.
Not bad at
Along
all.
with that, what you were talking about strength requirements when it came to holding guns, it brings it up in this book, saying, thanks to the exoskeleton, the extra strength it gives you, you're able to hold armor-piercing machine guns in both hands without recoil penalties.
Yeah.
It turns you into an Arasaka ninja at the end of the day. The Noetic navigation interface, it's a very good GPS, bombs away. That's all you really need to know.
Okay, so is that the picture in the next page? Is that what that big diving machine looks like?
Well, that's the exoskeleton.
That's the exoskeleton?
Yeah,
Ah.
where it can be a thin model or it can be a big damn model like that.
Oh, there's a bigger model.
Yeah, behold, Kyle, there's your picture.
Oh, that's cool looking.
Yeah, you become Adam Smasher.
That's cool looking. I like that.
Kind of looks
There's-
like a Fallout power armor.
Kind of does
this
actually.
This looks almost identical to the pictures you see in Cyberpunk 2020. Those books are coming out around the same time.
Somebody at White Wolf was reading that.
I wonder
Right.
if they got. I wonder if they got an artist from Cyberpunk to make that picture.
I mean,
gotta
it
look up
does
who
look
did-
like it was from some other form of media.
Yeah, I gotta look up who did the artwork for this book and try comparing and contrasting. Because I'm getting some strong Atom Smasher vibes off of that picture. So that GPS, it takes the form of a little drone. It hangs above a place. It tells you where you are. Basically, like your own little like GPS satellite, that so you never get lost.
Is that the Natodic navigation interface?
Yes.
Ah.
The Raiden unit. You want to shoot electricity out of your hands? Bombs away. There you go.
What?
The Raiden
Explain
unit.
that to me. The Raiden unit.
Yeah.
Don't you mean Raiden? Don't you mean Raiden unit?
Raiden.
Raiden.
Ryan?
Raiden.
Yeah. There we go.
Ryan is a unit.
Yes,
we're not
he
doing
is.
we are not doing the Mortal Kombat pronunciation.
Yeah, because copyright issues, right? That's why.
They have a guy
No,
who looks
no.
like who looks like Raiden using the device.
I was saying Ryan, as in
No.
R-Y-A-N.
They named after you.
Yeah. He is a unit.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's what it looks like. He's dressed like the people.
So
you are wearing the outfit from Big Trouble in Little China.
So it's a very powerful taser. Gotcha.
Yes. Just shock the shit out of you. Semi-organic storage system.
Semi-organic.
Is that like a? I'm
Yep.
gonna guess it's. I'm gonna guess it's like a giant sphincter purse.
We turn your large intestine, into a man purse.
That's like the ammo gland from Cruelty Squad.
See, so what? No, I'm joking with you. All right, so what it does? This miracle of biotechnology sounds considerably more impressive than it seems at first glance. It appears to be nothing more than a glass case cube, almost 12 inches on its side, lined with honeycombs of unremarkable off-white calcified substrate. Pretty boring, all said and done. When exposed to a weak electrical charge, however, each cell in the matrix can be induced to store either a 0 or a 1 charge or neutral charge. And this lasts almost indefinitely. Coupled with the correct hardware, the resin becomes functionally equivalent to a modern transistor-driven memory. It is a giant charging battery that you can put in your pocket and will keep everything in it charged forever.
Oh, that's cool.
So you will never run empty on your phone again.
Hey, bro, can you charge my phone?
In this box.
How has this not solved a lot of problems?
Yeah, that's why you don't see any members of the Technocratic Union bumming off each other's phones.
Mm.
You got this. See the Shadow Sim projector.
So
Shinzui Industries, who we're going to talk about, this is their VR headset. Bombs away.
So it gives this to the Umbra.
Yeah.
Regular humans going into the Umbra.
Yeah, as long as you're wearing the VR headset, you can astral project into the Umbra.
Astral projecting
So you're
into the
not
Umbra.
in the-
Bro, this
Oh,
game
so you're
fucking
not-
sucks.
Yeah.
So you're not in the Umbra. You're just kind of astral projection into the Umbra.
Yeah,
You can
because
see, but you can't be there.
yeah, you can of course just take
without
the
the
headset
need
off.
for air drugs. Gotcha.
You can look, but you can't touch.
Let's see what's here. The toroidal electromagnetic repulsor. This space age repulsor. It's a repulsor gun. It's a repulsor gun. That's what it is.
What's
You want
what's
to
a
shoot?
repulsor?
It's
I
not
don't know
going
what
to
that
kill you.
does.
It's just going to push you away.
Okay.
Yep. So, yeah, what Syndrome was using to kick Mr. Incredible's ass? This is what it was.
I don't.
Who's
I
super
don't know.
now? He's like, he shoots him with the ray gun and then he picks him up and slams him into the ground.
So it's like the air gun in Unreal Tournament.
Charger beam or the gravity gun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Less
or the
impressive.
physics gun.
Less impressive.
The Vitruvian harness. This is adapted from a primitive Connecticut shipyard design. Provide Geru in Hispo and Lupus forms with a semblance of faculties of an additional set of limbs. You put this on your back, it gives you 2 arms. Bombs away.
Hello, Peter.
You want to give a dolphin arms? There you go. Just put this on him.
I'd hate to see what it would do with it.
So we have a device that gives you multiple limbs. Now you just need
Yeah.
another device that gives you multiple holes.
And then what's next after that? The software, where just use your imagination with the software that they can make. We're not going to go super in-depth with this, but let me talk to you about systematically what the Akagi security screen does. This sole nature of a security program makes it difficult to penetrate, Although given an original copy of the Akagi Code, storytellers may allow hackers an intelligence and computer role to discover a backdoor in any sort of computer software.
Ooh.
It's like that recent
Or
what was it called?
the CloudStrife crash?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
CrowdStrife, yeah.
Yep. There you go. You use this program, you have an automatic lockpick in any sort of software you want to name.
Rage
So-
Across LA win?
So this already exists in real life. Like,
Yes.
just
There we go.
somebody made their own like apparent. So this device, your toaster can talk to you now.
Yes. Or
Oh, it's
the
like
Genesis
that one
software.
yeah, it's what was it? It's like that one vault from Fallout New Vegas where all the appliances talk to you.
Right. The big MT. We have the Genesis software, where although comprehensive systems are hard to set down when it comes to playing God, the generative process is arduous, exhausting, and intensive. Assume the minimum of 1 full day spent coding the Genesis software. And skipping ahead some of this text, it's all mechanics. An intelligence and computer role, difficulty 8, must be made for each and every day spent in a construction phase. What the Genesis system does, Kyle, name an object.
Where are you reading a Genesis software?
Genesis software, this is page 54.
Name an object.
Okay. You skipped a couple things. Okay.
A keyboard.
It did destructs items. You tell the Genesis software to build something, it will build it out of digital code.
But like material physical version of digital code.
It takes matter from computers and it makes it physical.
Okay. That's kind of neat. So I can make an
So-
electric hot dog.
Yes.
Cool.
Or on the next
They
page, we have
poo-pooed my electric Frankfurter.
on next page is the Midas EXE, which is the money printer. You want to print money? Behold, you just use Midas, you got money. There you go.
But what's the difference between that and easy money?
Easy money. One is a debit card that just prints money. The other one's a god. There you go.
Easy
They do
money.
the same things. They do the same thing though.
Yeah, it looks
The
like you
one's
just
more
cut out the
weavery
middleman
than the
entirely. Yeah, you cut out the middleman with easy credit, no mighty dollar.
I guess.
See what's next. The wetware, cybernetics. We get to talk about the Dionysian strain. So, this mutagen has been used twice in human history to preserve the veil when it was about to collapse. In both cases, the circumstances and conspirators responsible for such a decision have been kept as closely guarded secrets from the Guru Nation. What this does, system, when ingested or introduced, it will cause severe racking pains in a human recipient whose immune system receives one chance, a difficulty 9 soak roll, to fend off an hours-long transformation into a monstrous man-wolf. It turns you into a werewolf.
That's
You worry
insane.
about-
That's.
Yep.
Oh, so the werewolves.
You need 3 successes to avoid this, and you become a bootleg werewolf if you fail this roll.
Yeah, that's the
Oof.
werewolves. That was in the Book of the Weaver, I believe.
Yes.
Book of the Worm, I believe. Yeah.
So what the GWs are using this for, when you breach the veil and you're given a choice of either killing the human suspect or letting the veil be breached, you instead take a third option. You inject them with a virus that turns them into a werewolf.
And then the Black Spirals take him and make him into a Fomori.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's-
I have
that's-
no reason how that'd fucking backfire.
Yeah, you basically end up using the gangrel beast form stats when you're this kind of wolf. You don't have the changing seed in you, and you're kind of stuck in the one form forever. Really. Let's see. What's next? Eternity. Made from designs stolen from Magadon. So,
which were stolen
Huh.
from Mr. What's his name, Enzo Giovanni,
yes.
or like his blood, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that man was a genius and he killed him. This drug, which accumulates in the user's system, takes 3 to 4 weeks for the changes to become visible. Once activated, the effects are obvious and impressive. soon as I get that page. All right. Wrinkled and spotty skin becomes smooth. Pigment is reallocated to flesh and hair, restoring the color and bestowing something of a baby face. Even physical old age symptoms like joint pain and lack of recall just go away with this drug known as Eternity. It's the fountain of youth drug. Bombs away. It makes you younger.
Okay.
You want to know why
Yep.
glassworkers aren't dying of old age? This is why.
And they dig their
There it
own
is.
graves into fucking drone.
It's why
There it
Keanu
is.
Reeves still looks the same.
This man has had 27 children and he's 90. There he is.
If there's another way to live forever, though I can't recommend it under many circumstances.
And let's talk about one more. Let's talk about Medusa. This silvery white little medicine, what it does for you. Upon ingesting it, as if a malignant transmutant's very existence was not enough, what this does is that it turns you into basically the Weaver making a Gorgon is what this does to you. The Medusan simplex springs to life, immobilizing, then ossifying, and then metabolizing whatever you look at. It's a drug that when you stare at people, it turns you into a mutant with mutant eyes, where you petrify people by staring at them.
That's scary.
There you go. That's a Gorgon power that the Weavers
Seems-
figured out how to copy.
Seems appropriate.
So there you go. The Weaver trying to replace and reduce the Wild. There you go. That's the kind of order that we're dealing with. But enough about all these drugs and all this kind of mechanical shit and software shit.
You haven't mentioned any drugs, but Lucid is the one that lets you
I
step
just mentioned 3
sideways.
drugs off the bat.
Yeah.
Are they drugs? Oh,
Yes.
okay. I thought they were devices, but whatever.
Yeah, it is a device in a way. It's just ingestible.
Okay.
All right. Ryan, let's talk about the realms.
Right.
The realms, Ryan. The realms.
I think he's dead.
There aren't that many. There aren't that many
No,
to
he's
talk
alive.
about.
It's not like I muted myself like a dumbass. But we've got a couple. We've got the Scar, the Cyber Realm. Unless we're going to be talking about the Weaver and the Deep Umbra, but
We will talk about the Weaver and the Deep Umbra. Right.
and then
So
we've
what
got
is
the
this
other
Scar?
ones. The Scar is a, what was it, like a fissure? No.
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay, that's what I thought. It was a fissure created by the worm.
Yeah, the Weaver and the Worm fighting. That's what made it.
Yes, on Gaia. It's a fissure that was created by them.
We mentioned this before in the Red Talons episode, way back
Yeah,
when.
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That's what I was remembering it from. I'm not good on the details.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's like a war memorial. It's a reminder as to the stakes of Werewolf the Apocalypse,
Yeah.
the Scar.
There's a lot of Banes and Weaver spirits living there. They both Weaver and the Worm feed on what happened in this realm.
An eternal battleground, perfect for farming renown.
We cut a hole in the ozone layer.
Yeah. And it fell on the earth.
And then we have the cyber realm as what?
Yeah, the Cyber Realm is a purely Weaver. It's more purely Weaver than the Scar is, as it represents the technology. It's been around for a very long time. It was too small to be noticed, or at least considered around until the 20th century. It grows exponentially as the pace of technology changes.
You're right about this?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's because I'm reading it as I go.
Yes.
It
Don't
is
worry.
easily could be easily revisited using moon paths. It's grown noticeably in size, mainly because, as I said earlier, technology is continuing to grow. I mean, I think we hit a stagnant right about now. I mean, we have AI, but let's be fair. still so far behind on
Yeah.
AI.
We're not at the point where I can go into VR chat and die in real life and then still be alive in VR chat.
Yeah,
We're on
We're
the
not-
precipice of something, though.
we're not the movie Uploaded.
That's what the
So-
cyber realm looks like in usual chat.
So, what does? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it interesting?
You
I
just
was
go in there.
expecting-
The entire world is Matrix.
So it's like Tron, but with a film budget.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, don't
Put your
talk shit
3D
about
glasses
Tron. I
on.
love Tron.
I was expecting more of like Digimon and the digital monsters in the digital world, but
Well, the Weaver hasn't
Yeah.
made that much progress yet. You could have an entire Digimon game in Mage the Ascension with the virtual adepts. Speaking of the virtual adepts, these guys really want to get in this realm. They want to live in it.
I can
That's
see why.
dumb.
just that realm. Aw.
Yeah, this is the key to Mass Ascension. We're all going to jump inside the Weaver's cyber realm and then just live there forever.
That's because they can access the internet from literally that realm. They can be in the internet.
They do cheat codes IRL. They act like Neo from the Matrix.
Yeah.
We already have this though, and it sucks.
Yeah, the virtual apps are going to make it even better.
Well, nobody
Alright.
likes it. Nobody cares.
Nobody likes the virtual adepts.
From what I'm reading, they also seems like they have their very own AI machine in there.
Yep, the machine messiah.
Just
Yeah.
one.
Just
Yeah.
one. Yeah, just the
one.
singular one. One
Yeah.
The main one is called the machine.
Yes.
The
One of the
machine will grow in power and consciousness. And as that grows, so does the cyber realm itself.
yeah, we'll talk about the machine in just a minute.
Oh boy.
But tell me about what is the Weaver doing in the Deep Umbra?
The Umbra the Weaver doing in the Deep Umbrum. The Weaver
Well,
is
he's stuck there because he can't go into the material world.
Yeah,
And
the-
you know,
Yeah,
Yes,
the
to have
Weaver's she's in a race to keep the wild out of the Deep Umbra because that's where all the crazy magic is.
and like, I mean, you have to have side projects. So I'm assuming that's what the cyber realm is.
Mhm. So, yeah, that's the thing with the Deep Umbra. You see this, Ryan?
see what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
seen the
He-
shit?
Yeah.
Yes.
You seen the
He-
shit?
So what? Do you want me to say it or do you want to say it?
She or the Weaver is keeping things out, especially the wild, from what
Yeah.
I'm reading.
Yes.
Anything that enters the realm, the realm, her realm, is instantly calcified.
She spray glues you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you're stuck forever.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not forever, but. So it looks like true names are recorded on
Just about every
on the
single wall
walls
in here.
of something called the Perfect City. That is
Yes.
the Weaver's home. Oh, I see.
Your name is more like unique identifiers.
Yeah.
It has everything known and unknown written on there, and it looks like every place in the entire cosmos, including Malpheus, can be accessed from this realm, from
Yeah.
the Perfect City.
Yeah, that's what it's her Shabalba. It's the realm that connects to every other realm.
It's
And
the Atlantis of the spirit world.
And inside that perfect city, Ryan, is the
Yeah.
Weaver's manifesto. Her plan as to how she's going to conquer the world and how many days away she is from controlling everything and having humanity reach its peak.
Sorry, it's the Atlanta of the spirit world.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say Atlantis too, because
Yeah.
Atlantis is a lost city.
And once again, this place is still here because the forces of the Weaver herself is so strong. If the Defiler was to try to attack this place, she would lose.
Yeah.
You got the Weaver and the Worm in a stalemate.
The Wild and Weird Worm just need to team up.
You want to read the Wild's manifesto, the Weaver's manifesto?
Where is that? I don't
Yeah.
think you said that to me.
No, it's not a thing, but it's down to Perfect City. You want to find it?
Oh, no, that's not it.
Let's see. We can't let the public know about this. It's too dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that.
We're going to release the manifesto of everyone else, though.
Oh gosh darn.
Yeah,
These are
you
their
know,
plans. Stay away from mine.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. You want to talk about the 3 replacements on Anasa? What the Weaver has pulled off of herself to help micromanage her slow domination of all of creation? I mentioned the machine before. We're going to get into detail about the machine now. And then we'll get into a little bit about the spirits, and then we'll talk about the relationships.
Yes.
All right.
I'm
The
guessing
machine. So,
Pink Floyd's The Machine.
yeah, what I was telling you about the Antichrist, that's what this is. It is the machine born from machines, and it is made to run the world by the Weaver's design. You're to micromanage everything, specifically the Glasswalkers, and make sure everything goes according to my plan.
And we must rage against it.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh,
And
sorry.
Everything is going according to plan with the machine's little adjustment bureau. And in case you want to know why I'm so light on details about it, you already know what this is because it's also the God Machine in Chronicles of Darkness. The same thing, really.
Yep.
It carried over.
The
It's
self-propagating
survived.
machine.
It is carried over.
HAL 2000.
There it is. It is the Matrix itself, basically, is what the machine is.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Let's see. Next
I'm
up, we have the
Skynet.
Patriarch. We have the Patriarch.
Patriarch.
Get the sweaty suffragette Black Furies in the chat.
The only
But that's
is it like the
wild.
Patriarch from Killing Floor 2?
No, he's lamer than that.
Ah, damn. Doesn't have a chain gun and
think
rocket launchers.
I think it's kind of sexist to actually put in the Patriarch and no Matriarch in the
Yeah,
book.
but
if you
it's
ask me.
because the Patriarch, this is how the Weaver wanted society to be. The Weaver said, way back in ancient time, I want men to run everything, and I'm going to make a big man called the Patriarch to control human society from the shadows. And so you had the Patriarch, who was the big man that empowered other men to subjugate women.
He was the big man with a gun.
Yes. That is literally what he is. He is the inner man in all of you. That wants to have sex whenever he wants, who wants to drink beer and pass out on the couch, and hit his kids, and just buy a Porsche when he's 40, and all the stuff that we love men for.
Yeah,
and
man.
he is and he has
that
been
sounds
rapidly
awesome.
he's been
Play
rapidly
the-
losing power since 1950 because of 3 groups. I don't know, the Black Furies, Children of Gaia, and Actena.
Quick, play the Ken discovering misogyny clip.
Yes. and now we refer to the Patriarch as the colonizer, and we hate him now.
Yeah.
So there you go. And
Women.
then lastly, the Science Incarna, where I just need to say the phrase "trust the science," and now you know what it's all about.
Trust the science, don't do your own research, follow blindly, and don't ask questions. Asking questions is punishable by disintegration.
Yeah. He's also the Weaver's big researcher, where the science that you're not allowed to see, the Science Incarnate itself, is going back and forth between the planet and the Weaver, sharing all these different advancements and finding out how to make new stuff and how to advance that manifesto plan. And that's what it does.
It just does science.
You want to talk about spirits? Because there's animal spirits that are made by the Weaver, but they don't look like animals. They look like furries.
Are
I'm
they
not
all
kidding you.
bugs?
No,
they
they're
all bugs,
furries.
though? Oh.
They're furries. That's what they are. They're furries.
Actually?
Yes. Instead of making an actual rat spirit, when the Weaver makes a rat, they stand on 2 legs and smoke cigarettes.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Flat.
there is-
Wait, don't Racken
you
already
go on
do
Fur
that?
Affinity, that's the realm of the Weaver.
Rat can already stand
But they
around
don't-
smoking
they don't-
cigarettes.
But they don't look like animals. They look like people animals. They're cartoony in appearance. They don't
Ah.
have fur texture. Instead, there's like a flat fuzz texture made in a DreamWorks movie, and then made for TV.
Think
And
about the pigs in Animal Farm.
Yeah.
you put Po from Kung Fu Panda next to a real panda. That's what it looks like.
I see.
Yeah. It's kind of shit you can expect to find in terms of quote unquote animals made by the Weaver. But
Beware the things that walk on 2 legs.
beware the things I want to. They are very sexy. They're going to give you awakening.
Oh,
Oh
God.
no,
Yeah,
no, we don't want to do that. No.
You want to live the life of Eric W. Schwartz?
Next.
Yeah.
Next topic.
The man, the man made a lot of money off of Amiga, and how he got started is that he had a sexual awakening after watching Animaniacs. And that's how it happened.
Danston, if you
Yeah.
ask Johnny to skip a sexually oriented topic, then he's not going to skip it.
Elementals. Glass elementals?
We talk about the geomids, which are just shapes. Okay, that's a triangle. That's a square. That's a circle. It floats. It speaks in machine code. It just does what the Weaver wants it to do.
They're trying to be.
And they all have.
Triangle Man. Triangle Man.
Oh yeah,
nice person,
Triangle Man. They have a fight. Triangle.
They all
wins.
have. They all have very distinct things that they do. Where you have an attack geomid, which just attacks you on sight. Information geomids that just vomit information onto you and answer your questions. Structure geomids that become structures. They all do one specific thing, and that's it.
These sound very funny to fight. Like
Yeah.
imagine imagine just the werewolves actually fighting like a barrage of fonts that
Yes.
just materialize.
Letters.
Like
It's
every
like
time they
in-
punch something, they go. Hold on, when they punch something, like the sound effects of boom, blam, pow, but they actually manifest and start attacking them.
That's funny.
It does the text to speech. It goes A whenever you punch a letter A.
It's like when Kamek throws like the spinning shapes at you in Super Mario World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You yell out "fuck you," and then you take the text from that "fuck you" and you whack them over the head with it.
Next up, the elementals you want to talk about. This is stuff. Now, some of this does occur in nature, but it's synthesized. Is the big drawing point to why this is a Weaver spirit. You have glass, plastic, metal, namely stuff like steel and bronze, stuff that need alloys to make, electricity, and atomic spirits. Talk about nuclear
Now-
power. This is where they get it.
I thought it was something more like theoretical in terms of atomic
Yeah.
spirits.
They're very rare, but an atomic spirit, they're not necessarily nuclear. They're more like raw split atoms that have not exploded or have given you cancer yet, and they're very rare. But the minute a glassworker gets their hands on it, their building will never lose power ever again.
It's like
So,
the
but
meme where some guy from Florida powered his home for 20 years using an unexploded nuke.
Yes.
So, so binding atomic spirit to anything just makes it a bomb.
They can also power you because they have 10 points of gnosis they can give you.
Oh,
That's what they say when they mean uranium is 20 billion calories.
Yeah.
jeez.
Squeeze the atom, it will give you power. And
I eat
now,
atoms every day.
and now we have the spiders. The spider. The Weaver loves making pattern spiders, who are these little drones. They all look like mechanical spiders that build stuff in the Umbra. What is made in the material plane, the Weaver also wants in the Umbra. This didn't used to be a thing, but now it is, where you'll have a building that will exist in a plot of land. That plot of land that it correlates to in the Umbra, you get a single pattern spider that will start building the building. It will look like a web skeleton at first, and then as the pattern spider continues to work, they will then start adding textures to it, triangle by triangle, and eventually they will give texture to that texture, and then color, and then eventually it will be a one-for-one copy of what the building was. When you went into New York and reached across New York, and you saw all the buildings in the Umbra, there were a lot of pattern spiders in New York that made those.
Yes.
And that's not a good thing. That makes the area very banal, and it increases the gauntlet like crazy when that happens.
As we found out.
Difficulty 8 to step sideways in New York City.
Ooh,
Really glad that I was playing
Yeah.
a Theurge.
right?
And you have some spiders that do different tasks that aren't just building, like the backdoor spider, which hacks into your technology and steals your data. It's the data harvesting scam spider. That's what it does.
It's a spy. It's a
Plus-
keylogger, a spyware.
You want to sign up for Honey,
Oh Jesus, no!
and we get all of your information.
I
a lot-
hate ads that do that. It's so fucking
there's actually-
ridiculous.
There's actually a lot of different types of weaver spiders. You have the trade spiders. I'm guessing those
Money.
those are stock trader spiders.
See,
Money.
the chaos monitors that make sure nothing is going wrong, and then when something does go wrong, they raise hell about it. The guardian spider, a gigantic spider monster that is going to kill you if you try destroying the web.
And there's also wolf spider, which is not
Yes.
the same wolf spider that you're thinking of, apparently.
Or the net spiders, who are building the literal webs that are connecting computers together. They've been working very quickly.
Yep.
D's nuts
The
spiders.
D's nut spider.
Is there a meme spider?
That should be a thing.
It should be.
See, what else is here that's a really fun spider? Where's the orb spider? Where is it? There it is, the orb weaver. I want to read this out in full. Obese, milky white spiders possessed with translucent bodies and 1,000 eyes. These grotesque creatures embody much of the weaver's alien intelligence and incomprehensible quasi-reality. They wander the digital web in a manner similar to the backdoor spider, but actually create their own ephemeral network in the Umbra. These intricate structures sometimes bridge otherwise impassable wastelands between disparate networks. More often than not, however, they simply stand alone, serving as support and synergy in an isolated void. Impossible structures defying all physical laws into symmetry and synthesis. By walking and staying in place, they are simultaneously Moonbridge teleporter pads and servers. That's what they do.
Jesus.
You want to connect your mind to the Orb Weaver? You're going to have a hell of a time. You're going to be surrounded by all these different great minds.
I don't know if I want to.
Or not.
My head is starting to hurt now.
You're going to get directly exposed to one song. That's what's going to happen to you. Which
My
is
songs are
zero.
better.
the one song, capital O, capital S, is the eternal hymn of the Weaver that is sung by all the spiders within the Weaver's realm to worship the Weaver. That if
Yep.
you hear it, will
It's just
directly
ones. It's
yeah.
just ones and zeros.
It's or just constant white noise is the hymn.
Oh,
And it's one everlasting note. And by hearing it, it will slowly begin the process of turning you into a drone. You ready to talk about these guys?
geez.
Kyle, I have mentioned these guys to you before. They are mechanically broken in World of Darkness.
Yeah, I know they're a pain in the ass to fight.
When you get possessed by a Weaver spirit, your skin and bones slowly start becoming plastic and metal. Your muscles become carbon fibers. You slowly start turning into a robot. This happens when you become so banal and boring of a person that... Dan, you remember that conversation we were having when King was in the call where we were talking about autumn people?
Autumn people.
Where you're saying somebody who's banal, some guy that just goes to work, works as a clerk, comes home,
Yeah.
does crossword puzzles with his coffee, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And that's a person that is autumnal, but not Weaver possessed. If they just worked, went to bed, and that was it, where they had the personality of a wooden board and only ever worked and had no interest, no hobbies, no real goal in life, that's a drone. That's what that is.
I
A
think
literal
it's a shallow-
NPC.
I think it's a shallow way of actually defining my dad. I don't know.
Yep. No, this is
Wow.
alien, as in they just can't hold conversations at all. You might as well be a machine walking around as a person.
Hopefully I'm
And-
doing something to stop that with all the music I've been playing.
Yeah. And here are their abilities. We have a full alphabetical bullet list as to what the drones can do. You ready for this craziness?
All right.
Because I'm reading all these. All right. Augmented
All right.
shell. The
I'll be
drone
right
has
back.
been
I'm still listening. I'll be right
Right.
back though.
the drone has been gifted with 3 to 5 extra dots in any physical attribute the storyteller selects. So already pretty strong, right?
Jesus.
Computer link. The drone is capable of controlling computers by touch alone. There you go. Intelligence and computer difficulty 6. And the more they touch an object, the less difficult, the smaller and smaller the difficulty becomes, until they're doing automatic successes. Cyber senses. Much like the Glasswalker gift of the same name, the drone can alter his own senses to match those of a machine. You can give yourself X-ray vision, predator vision, night vision by just changing your senses, along with giving yourself sonar or vibration sense. Nothing is going to be able to escape you. Your breathing and heartbeat monitors, you can change your senses to pick those up. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Electric field. As a self-defense mechanism, the drone can generate a powerful electrical field, shocking or even electrocuting anyone or anything in contact with their body. The electrical charge does damage equal to the drone's stamina rating plus 3, and they must expend a willpower point to do this. You want to get
I really
shocked?
hope I never want to fucking fight this thing.
Gauntlet passage. Another common power, this allows the drone to step sideways as Gerudo by rolling willpower instead of Gnosis. No reflective surface is needed.
What?
They can just do this.
That's nice.
Yes.
I mean, the Weaver did build the Gauntlet. It makes sense.
Invulnerability. The drone's pattern has become woven in a form for exceptional durability. The drone gains 3 to 5 extra soak dice on top of the stamina score, which are treated as armor. And whenever they take damage, their skin will not break, their muscles will not tear, their bones will not shatter. Magnetokinesis. The drone can manipulate ferrous objects by affecting localized magnetic fields. Similarly, he can severely damage computers and other electronic media by projecting similar electromagnetic pulses. This power can move objects as if they're just picking them up by hand, equal to their strength score, at a range of 20 meters. Magneto stuff.
That's kind
You can catch a bullet. You can catch a bullet flying at you with this power. Matter weave. The drone is capable of reweaving the strands that make up physical matter, changing an object's form and function. This power operates very similarly to the Hamid gift reshape object, although drones typically use it only to repair structures rather than change their shape. Memory caress. In order to help its servants avoid disturbing the status quo, the Weaver may imbue some of its drones with the ability to gently alter an onlooker's memories, so that they don't remember anything out of the ordinary. This is just an automatic success whenever they want to do this.
Drones are they're like Fumari, but without the drawbacks.
Yeah,
I'm saving the best
basically.
one for last. All right. Spirit static. Like the Spirit Charm, this power allows a drone to temporarily increase the Gauntlet in an area. The drone must expend 1 willpower point equal to the level they want to raise the Gauntlet, and the effects last for the entirety of the scene. Stasis touch. The drone has become such an embodiment of stasis that he may rob a target of any shape-changing power with a simple touch. To use his power, he must touch a target, then make a willpower roll opposed to the target's gnosis. The target cannot shift into any form for a duration of 2 turns for every success the drone made. Triadic sense. By focusing for a turn and rolling perception and occult, the drone can discern exactly how strong the Weaver, Wild, or Worm is in a given area. Voice of reason. By speaking clearly in an alien seductive monotone, the drone is able to lull listeners into a state of acquiescence. Targets must make willpower or rage rolls difficulty equal to the drone's manipulation and expression, or be called into a state of quiet acceptance. Perfect hypnotism is what that does. Now for the big one. Regeneration. One of the first priorities of the Weaver is inhabiting the drone with the Weaver spirit that will ensure perfect symmetry. A drone's body rapidly heals any imperfections to its properly ordered state, including wounds. The drone regains 1 health level per turn. Let me reiterate that. Per turn. Per other NPC or player's turn.
Oh,
That's how quickly they regenerate.
Fuck that.
kind of great.
Yeah.
So like every damage you do just automatically gets subtracted by 1.
Unless that damage is aggravated, in which they will only heal that once every hour. But at the same time, that's aggravated damage. That's getting touched with a La Sombra's shadows, or getting stabbed with a Grand Clave. That level of destruction.
So theoretically, the less people you have in the encounter, the less they can actually regenerate damage.
Yes. But the issue is that drones will always travel in packs of 3 to 5. If you're lucky. They all communicate with each other. They all have telepathy with each other, and will tell each other when they're in combat. You fight one drone, every other drone within 20 miles knows where you are.
See, this is a more dangerous villain. This is like a true villain for werewolves.
Oh yeah.
One that actually is scary.
The best part about drones, they don't pick and choose these powers. Every power I just listed is equipped with every drone.
This is a fucking boss fight.
Yes. You outdid the hit mark.
That's
You
incredible.
outdid it. So, yes, this is an absolutely insane fight you go up against.
You're gonna lose a character or 2 in this fight.
If
Why not?
if you're fighting a big enough group, you just cannot win that fight in general. You have to get out of there. So, yes, you wonder why the Weaver isn't losing any fights anytime soon.
You're wondering why like the werewolves haven't like allied with like the worm to take them down. Actually,
The stargazers.
I'd rather do the wild, in all honesty. A wild afflicting a drone would basically just dismantle it.
Because with the wild, you get psychic powers at the very least, and you
Yeah.
evolve. you turn into an apostle from Berserk.
I still haven't read that.
Let's see here, and now we can talk about relationships, Kyle.
Yes. So we already talked at quite a bit of length earlier in the episode about what the Glasswalkers do with the Weaver. But just to reiterate, so the Glasswalkers, as we know, have unwittingly become the pawns of the Weaver in a war against both the Worm and the Wild, and they've even started to become uncomfortable with wildish gifts and fetishes. And through all this, the Glasswalkers have no idea just how fucked they are. They always say they seek to guide her, but without understanding how she manipulates them. They're very vigilant about keeping worm corruption out of the technology, without fully comprehending how much they further the Weaver's interests, or what they even are. Some Theurges have begun reporting some worrisome behavior from Weaver spirits, but they often fall short from the truth. The Weaver's mind becomes more erratic as it wars with itself, and the repercussions reverberate through all of the Weaver's children and servants. And the Glasswalkers themselves have become even more and more divided over how much they should be leaning on the Weaver. The Cyberdogs have only been one such symptom. They were unabashed about their connection to the Weaver, tearing parts of themselves out in order to forcibly implanting cyberware into unsuspecting lupus canine. We actually talked about that quite a bit during the Glasswalkers episode.
Yes.
And that seeks to calcify everything it's spread through the ultimate tool of domination of technology. Whether or not they're aware of what's going on is anyone's guess, and some have even given themselves completely over willingly. The old mafia dons and corporate wolves struggle to regain their power in those areas, and the cyberdogs thrive as a response. They have little, if any, respect for the woodland brethren and all the wildish aspects therein, and any mention they make is lip service, if anything. And all they do is talk about how Gaia can be, quote-unquote, improved through technology. They're completely unaware of all the subtle transformations taking place within the Glasswalkers. Even the Glasswalkers themselves are barely aware of it. Few and fewer come into contact with the world outside of cities, and many younger members fail to see any use at all for the wild in aiding Gaia. And sooner or later, they're going to lose sight of Gaia completely. And then they'll just be pawns of the Weaver forever. And Gaia will have lost another tribe to the Triad. They're saying that the fall of the Glasswalkers is damn near inevitable.
There it goes.
Yeah. Fuck the Glasswalkers.
If it hasn't happened already.
It's basically already done. Their fate is sealed.
You've become so heavily reliant on the Weaver, you can secede from the Union and then immediately become drones.
Yes.
Yep.
And then your lives will suck forever because you'll be engaged in carbonite like Han fucking Solo. Good job, dipshit. Anyway.
Han or Han?
What?
So,
I don't know if it's Han or Han Solo.
Han Solo. It's
Hansel.
Chinese.
Hansel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hansel Solo.
So what about
And-
the vampires relationship?
The vampire's relationship with the Weaver?
It actually doesn't say. Or at least I don't know the pages for it.
Page 84.
See, don't worry, I'll get into it.
I was not sent that page.
Yeah.
So, the Farah.
Kyle, you do what you do.
Yes, the Farah. Starting off, we have the Ananasi. The interesting thing about this book is that all of the quotes from the other Farah are from, direct quotes as it seems here. With the Ananasi, the quote is from Shantaine Paroki of the Skyne Spiders, and she says that the Weaver is at the heart of the war that splits the Ananasi today. The Queen, the Pearl as it is, an Ananasi herself resides in the heart of all the foulness, and some say it's the Weaver's betrayal that cast her there, and the Ananasi claimed to know better, and what could protect the Queen from falling into corruption were it not for the Weaver, who bears the likeness of the Ananasi. It's the nature of spiders to spin and weave. The Hatar are fools, and the Kumuti doubly so.
There it is. You just can't win with this kind of stuff, right?
You really can't.
You don't put all of your stock in the tryout.
No, you don't. But they did.
You have a house
and
to
they're
fight
dumb.
because of it.
Yes. And then you have the Bastet from Toby Shiningcoat, who's a Bagheera. They don't fault the Weaver for what it does. They understand the purpose of order and of permanency. And they really believe that it's the fault of the Garrow who dropped the wall between flesh and spirit, and the Garrow who barred them from their right to the spirit world. And they would take everything entirely out of proportion, including the deeds of Kalash, but they don't care about. Don't worry about the spirit world too much. Things could be doing better with them, but the Garrow certainly should have thought of that sooner. Basically, they blame everything on the Garrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then yes, as
they
typical with the
should.
Bastet. The Korax. To the Korax, things aren't as bad as they could be. There's a lot of people using the tech in really hideous ways, but, people would kill each other anyway. What they really need is for the Garrow to step their game up and drop off more of the Weaver corrupted at their doorstep. And honestly, it'd be nice if there was more of them to do so, and more of everyone else. But, the Weaver's messed up with along the rest of the universe. Quote from Deadman Steve, who I quite like. As you know, Read Book Korax is my favorite Pharaoh book. It's probably one of my favorite World of Darkness books.
That's why you have a Korax in your game.
I do love the Korax, buddy. The girl. So the girl believed that the Weaver is wounded, but no less than the Worm or the Wild. But perhaps they believe that the only chance of winning the apocalypse would take people to follow the pattern web into her lair and then cure her of her madness. And then maybe they could cure the Triad, but that task would require far more of anybody who is even living to do that. No, Don't do that. Don't.
Yeah, that sounds like victim blaming to me.
That's what the girl do.
These little pussies, I don't see you doing anything, girl.
They're not going to, unless you talk to Borislav, but he is not like the rest of his kind. Kind though he may be, he subscribes to no such niceties when those attempt to harm him. Anyway, Kitsune. This is the first quote I've seen from a Kitsune, but it's really funny how it's worded. It's definitely from a Lupus Kitsune. I kind of want to read it verbatim just because it's really funny to me. Yeah, Weaver all over the place. Everywhere you look is all schedule and government and say-so and passport. Sunset people fools for letting spiders run crazy and put glass and metal all over place. Now it run crazy all over East, too. We're place left to stand. Crazy. And Yomi knows trick of running on the strands that don't stick, just like they live there. Were it up to me, I'd tell people go nuts cutting web strands. Dump Yomi on heads and maybe make place a little easier to breathe in. Us foxes would do it, but we're very small. Other guys get better results. Well, need to, or 6'8" catch us with trousers around ankles. Quote from Blackfoot.
Maybe that they're just speaking with a Chinese accent or something.
But the Kitsune are Japanese.
They're Japanese, yeah.
or Japanese accent.
I don't know. I in short, the Weaver's everywhere, and it fucking sucks. And the people of Japan are stupid for letting it run crazy. That's
how you got all of your money.
I don't know. Go cut up the webs and fuck shit up, and the Kitsune would do it themselves if they weren't so small, fluffy, and adorable.
Yeah. If you weren't told by Gaia, you need to sit and wait for the world to end and then rebuild it.
Yeah, basically. The Macaulay.
No one drink. Secret. I got a secret. With parts made in Japan. Secret.
You're telling me Charles? You're telling me Robert Orville Charles Kilroy is a Kitsune?
I think he is actually.
It's so dumb that his initials are Rock.
Oh, I thought it was great.
Yeah,
when I was a kid, that song was a bop. Okay, so Macaulay. Everything gets out of hand, and it's going a lot faster than it used to. Very few people see the ties between the Weaver and the Worm, but the Macaulay can remember many times in which they work together. In fighting one, you have to fight the other. You can't be selective. That's very simple. The Macaulay are very good about being straight to the point. I do like that about them. The Naga. Only the blind would be unable to see that there's trouble there, and only the ignorant would not realize it is the failure of balance. But the shape-changing brethren would do, or the other pharaoh would be well to be reminded that they are incarnations of balance. I mean, how else would they explain their mixture of tradition and change? And that is their responsibility. Basically, they're basically calling everybody ignorant and stupid, and without balance, they can't exist, so fucking get to it. But then again, they can't tell anybody because they're the fucking Naga.
So, yeah, it kind of sucks being in secret society, right?
Yeah, it does.
You need help, you can't turn to anybody for it.
Yep. The Nuisha. I mean, you walk around to the Umbra as long as they have. You'd think you see it all, but you have to drop in and out of the physical world about 10 times a year just to make sure you're judging the passage of time right. The webs are piling up in there about 50 times as quick as they used to, and that's not slowing down, and soon there won't be any room to stand. And it's a serious problem. And if we are taking something seriously, then maybe the other guys ought to be paying more attention too. Basically, everyone in the Pharaoh breed is like, hey, are we going to take care of this? This is getting pretty bad.
Are we going to stop sitting on our asses and wasting time and actually do something?
No. We got to fight the worm, dude. It's all the worm's fault. Trust me, bro. Once we kill the worm, it'll be good. Don't worry about it.
Well, maybe the Rat King can handle it for us.
I mean, speaking of, the other bastards haven't bothered to get off their asses long enough to slow down Mama Spider, and now they're shocked that she's gotten so tough. Big fucking deal. We get in by the crannies and holes between the webs, just like we always have, and we'll learn to gnaw holes in the pattern web if it comes to that. We'll survive. The Rat King don't give a shit.
We're running a session with Jay, and we were talking about Fair Breed and their relationship with his story, and the Rat King came up in it. And when it comes to Rat King fighting injustice, we came up with the idea that something happening May 2020 in Minneapolis, and a giant riot happened because of it. The Rat King stuck their heads out the sewer and said, "Hey, what's going on? There's a riot. Who do we fight? Everyone."
Yep, and they did.
And it's gone and just caused more chaos.
And so it was.
You can't necessarily rely on the Rat King for this.
No, absolutely not. Since when can you rely on the Rat King for anything?
If you want to send a giant army that's 1 million strong in New York, and then other parts of the world, like Paris, France, has a bunch of Rat King in it.
The sun never sets on the Rat Empire.
You want to cause some absolute chaos in the throne of vampire princedom called a Ratkin.
Yep. The Rokea. It's known that Saet walks on the Unsea on land, and that her tracks coat the lands there, but that's her problem. In the oceans, she needs to bow to Kun, and the shelled one is not strong enough to challenge the mother of fishes. Their place is fine. The land is its own children's concerns. The Rokea don't care either.
And Dan, where you want to talk about Weaver and vampires?
Well, I thought someone should bring it up.
Do you want to talk about it then?
Well, actually, I have to be get going soon. I
Oh,
was
right,
actually,
because you
yeah,
work
but
in
I do,
there, don't you?
which sucks because I actually wanted to talk about Shinzuni Industries and DNA because
Let's bring up Shinzui instead.
Yes.
Let's bring them up. Kyle, I give you notes on these guys.
Yes. So Shinzui, yes, is actually the word New Dawn. On the face, it doesn't look any different from any other, popular Western conception concerning Asian enterprise. Pairing the loyalism,
Usual.
entrepreneurial spirit, barons pining for the feudalism of a bygone era, who'd sooner die than bend the collective knee to an intrusive Occidental presence. But Shinzui is, meanwhile, had remarkable growth in holdings in worldwide technology, but it's by no means unique. And only under the further scrutiny does the petals of the mystery of Shinzui Industries unfold. Shinzui corporate philosophy hinges upon the precepts of honor, personal and public, and the tradition that's grown about it, but it's commingling with Chinese and Japanese executives, and two of the firm's 11 directors are female, and they're collectively absent from the business once a month on the full moon. The Shinzui is comprised of Garo and kinfolk, and it's the paranormal edge that serves as the lifeboat and liability to the syndicate. Through carefully monitored mixture of the commercial conservatism, calculated risk, and slight preternatural nudges where other tactics have failed, Shinzui has endured and prospered through decades of bureaucratic infighting and rival a lot of Japanese corporate tyrants like Mitsubishi, Sony, and Hitachi Toshiba. And it continues to push the technological envelope with every day. But even those with careful eyes need to take heed. Several points remain. None of the aforementioned leaders attend to any moots or rites observed by the Garo, or even tolerate the company of other Garo. And that's only the initial concern, but there are executives that are suspected to share Hakan lineage. At least 3 of the oldest partners are known to have emigrated from Hong Kong's Council for Universal Trade, which is a glasswalker organization.
Yes.
Cooperation between the glasswalkers and the Hakan. And the CEO of Shinzui Industries has parted his company with his right hand's smallest finger sometime over the course of the past year, although the luminaries of the station, sufficient to merit such a token of his fealty, could be numbered on that hand's remaining digits. None of his subordinates have mustered the courage to inquire about that incident. It's pretty scary what they're up to, and the fact that it's all Garo.
1980s idea that Japan was going to take over the world through money, and then the bubble economy popped. This is Shinzui if a company survived the bubble bursting and kept all the money.
Yes.
And you want to know how much money they have? They can buy Pentex and are trying to buy Pentex.
That's a terrible idea.
Yes.
Well, there's actually a subplot in my Rage Across Vegas. And they've already killed the Mr. Donald Watts, the CEO of Sunshine Industries.
And in Weaver Ascending, the Times of Judgment scenario, Shinzui succeeds and Weaverfies all those worm companies and takes over the world that way. They can do it.
That's terrifying.
Nobody can do business quite like a Japanese man can.
No, and I don't know how that is, but they're damn good at it.
There it is.
It's the work ethic culture. They'll work themselves to death.
There it is. Live to work. That's what the culture is.
That sounds
Live to
terrible.
work.
Why would you do that?
Yeah,
Live
you
to
would-
work or work to die.
It's a fantastic tourist spot. It is a terrible place to live.
Part of the ship, part of the crew.
It's same with South Korea. I would never want to live in South Korea. I would love to tour in South Korea.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
I'd
like
love to
all
visit
the
South Korea.
all the apartments are fucking small.
Well,
I would
yeah.
hurt my head every time I go inside. I
I'm
would not
loving
like
that
it.
200 square foot apartment, and that's a big one.
I mean, Asians are statistically much smaller than Western people, so
Yeah, it's not racism. That's just
That's
stats.
that's
You
just-
want us to
yeah.
pull up the numbers?
actually, yeah. Well, what's the average height of the average Asian?
Go to
male?
Google. It's going to pop up on the screen.
Well, maybe they
Uh,
wouldn't be so short if they didn't work themselves to death.
Yeah.
average
Yeah,
Asian height. Let's see, around about like
You
it's
see,
5
you
foot
need to
8
do what
in
us white
China.
folks do and put a bunch of hormones in your milk.
It's 5'8" in China, 5'5" in India. Wait, that's Pakistan. Hang on. How tall is the average Asian? About 5'7",
Yeah.
and then the average European height,
USA. Yeah.
Average
European,
American height. 5'9"
number?
is the average height for American men.
Yeah.
So
There it is. There it is.
yep. So yeah, just not being racist, just showing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
statistically
If
Asian
you
men are
eat
smaller.
healthy, it makes you smaller. What you need to do is you need to eat shit like an American does. Therefore, you can grow big and tall.
Yes, eat shit, grow large.
And who's next? DNA, which stands for Developmental Neogenics Amalgamated. I do not know why you put a subsidiary of the progenitor technocracy mages in this book, but they're here. Where what they are a genetics company that work on Black Ops projects like Genome Soldiers and cloning, who have discovered werewolves after capturing a child of Gaia, and have realized that lycanthropy is a disease that needs to be cured. The veil has been breached. You may now panic.
Oh shit.
Where these are guys that are hiring Black Ops teams that are going, bagging and dragging werewolves, dragging them back to their facilities, testing on them in order to find out a way to permanently seal off the changing seed.
That's
what they're doing.
terrifying beyond all rational thought.
Yes.
So in my vampire LARP game, the character that I'm playing, as you know, he's an amnesiac. He doesn't remember anything about his past. Like, the only thing he remembers is just his embrace, and that's it.
Yes.
But he's had flashbacks, though. And one of his flashbacks is basically him walking around a laboratory that's basically run by DNA.
Yes.
And one of the things that hasn't really been brought up yet, but haven't really decided, but he came across one of those like biotubes, like that they put people in.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm deciding who is actually in that. And I'm deciding whether it's going to be his sire, or even a worse plot twist, what if it was himself?
Oh, that'd be freaky.
Now, if you're worried about DNA, don't be. Because I got this information from the Progenitors convention book. The Glassworkers know about this company, have bought stock in it, are working with the Progenitors in order to make sure they go unnoticed within the company that they're helping run, that is hunting them. That they're beneath their noses, they just don't know it. And they're copying their technology and selling those documents off to other Glasswalkers. So, all that stuff I talked about, genome therapy and cloning, the Glassworkers have copied. And in doing so, the Glassworkers are now cloning werewolves without the need of reproduction, no sex needed, and they're making essentially metists with no mess deformities, thanks to the technology that they stole from DNA.
I mean, it's still pretty weaverish, but we do need soldiers.
But if you need to think, well, DNA is just a bunch of schmucks at the end of the day, they're not going to accomplish anything, don't worry. They have a plan for that. Project Reaper.
Oh yeah,
They have
that's
a
scary
bio.
one.
And if they want to kill you, they can make the bioweapon just for you. They can take the sample, modify the bioweapon, and then kill you dead with a hammer. And what
it's
this is,
it's the kill all werewolves in existence virus.
it is an airborne bioweapon that, upon release, targets those that have changing seeds. This includes kinfolk, and immediately kills them with a heart attack.
It's a death penalty.
Yes.
That'd be terrifying.
But the ironic thing is, in the Weaver Ascendant scenario where this is released, it kills every changing breed except one, the Ratkin.
Because they'll survive anything.
The Ratkin are saying, "Oh, sorry, is somebody trying to kill us with a disease? We control the disease." You say? A disease? You think you can
we
kill
are
the
disease, motherfucker.
Yep. And then the rats are like, "Hey, this is a nifty little heart attack disease. What if we modify it and make it work on humans?"
There it is.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
You just handed the keys to the future off to the Ratkin.
You done goofed.
How do you feel about yourself now?
And there it is. And shall we talk about Machine Messiah as a totem?
Well,
Right.
we did kind of skip actually relationship with the vampires. Maybe we should go back to that.
Yeah.
So would you consider that to be a directly Weaver or a Worm thing, being a vampire?
Worm.
It's both. You are both a force of entropy and a force of preservation. You're eternally in stasis as part of the Curse of Cain, where the way that you were embraced and the way that you were as a person, that is preserved forever. And in entropy, you are something that's dead, brought back to life, the way that the worm works. But in a way, you are a perfect synthesis between the two. The Weaver and Worm swear up, down, left, and right that they can't exist in the same world with each other. The vampires prove otherwise, which is the fun little wrench that you get with putting vampires in your werewolf game.
To me, it's more like it's corruptible, because when you infect a vampire, like, they're not going to be perfectly preserved. Your humanity is not going to be perfectly preserved. There are some things of you that are not going to be perfectly preserved.
And you are missing a soul at the end of the day.
Yes.
I mean, you're missing a spirit.
Yeah.
You're missing a spirit at the end of the day. They do
And
technically have a soul. It's
leaves
just
you-
in their heart. And
leaves
it's,
perfectly open for a Bane to jump inside of you and take over the show.
if they can find you, because they're invisible in this, you can't find them from the spirit world.
Yeah. Unless a Ventrue tells their Tremere to step sideways, and then a Tremere gets possessed.
I can help you with that.
Yes. So, was there something in that paragraph you wanted to read off?
Well, I was wondering. Well, I was hoping there would be something else, like to say, because it says here that there aren't. They're already very. It says all the vampires are already very much touched by the Weaver. Not many are spiritually aware enough to perceive her in all her glory.
Yes.
There's one exception, however. The sense-enhancing vampire powers of Auspex.
Yes.
Vampires with remarkably heightened awareness can very rarely pick out the patterns underlying all of reality, or hear the teeniest snippets of the one song. One of these, some ignore what they find, but others become remarkably curious as to the nature of the strange symmetry that lies out of reach. These canites can often continue to hone their perceptual powers in an effort to see or hear more of this tantalizing perfection. So to me, that sounds like Markavian in the Malkavian weave.
Not just that, Toreador too.
I guess. I mean,
the Toreador's obsession with mathematic beauty is what would drive them into further Weaver corruption. We show you a painting that's made by a drone or another person that's got Weaver possession, and then slowly you become obsessed with that kind of artwork, and it leads you to going from making life drawings to Euclidean portraits, stuff like Pablo Picasso made, until eventually you're just drawing squares and calling it art.
Oh, here's something scary. A vampire who has been reworked into a drone is a strange beast indeed. Obviously, any powers of protean or vicissitude are lost to them. Change is not something encouraged by their new spirit half, but even more particular is the change worked on the blood. Apparently, the Weaver defines vampirism as the need to consume blood to survive, but does not acknowledge the mysterious powers of vitae. The clar the clarification changes all the vitae in the Canaanite's body into normal, dead blood. The animating power of the blood itself is lost, while the spirit half continues to animate the body and soul.
Uh-huh.
So we can have drone. So you can have drone vampires, but you'll lose the power of protein and vicissitude.
Yeah, so behold, basically useless.
Kind of.
Unless it's an Asimite or a Tremere, they'll still have the power. But if it's a Michi, forget it. You were better when you were a terrorist. And Maze the Ascension bombs away that Syndicrat shit that you're looking at.
Yep.
You're
Going
going for
that
more like the
Yeah.
static kind of weave, the way you do magic, where all of your spells follow like very Euclidean designs. Your fireball covers the sphere that's plot out as you see it with forces. And really, just wait for us to talk about Mace the Ascension before we get into detail about it.
Pretty
just
much.
wait for that. And,
Anyway, I have to get going. I'll see
yeah.
you guys later.
Indeed.
see ya. And
Good answer.
I'm looking at the section of the book too. There's also Wraith and Changelings brought up, saying you don't have to worry about either of them getting Weaver possessed.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
See you later.
Good answer.
All right, goodbye, Dan. And because the Changelings are too bedlam in nature for them to ever fall to full possession of the Weaver.
Yeah.
And after all, if a Changeling were to get droned, they would instantly die from banality.
Yes.
So the Weaver's wasting her time going after Changelings like that. Though the Weaver kind of is the secret villain of Changing to Dreaming. Because you do have the Worm. You do have the Worm pushing people to despair and becoming autumn people that are looking for destruction. But you
Yeah, but
also have
that'd
the
just be the
Weaver that's
Shadow
making
Court
the
then.
world... The Weaver's making the world so boring that people are losing the glamour, losing imagination, thinking, oh, we have patented technology, there's nothing else we can make, and therefore imagination is down the toilet. You have kids growing up thinking they are not going to make anything of themselves because everything's already been made.
Oh, but
That kind of
how
stuff.
wrong you are.
And then with Wraith, well, you're already dead. You are the spirit.
Yep.
You can't be possessed.
Basically.
The only thing that's going to get its hands on you in that state is Oblivion. All right. You want to talk about Machine Messiah? I want to talk about Machine Messiah. Let's go
Tell
into
us
it.
about the Machine Messiah.
Machine Messiah, a directly weavery totem. Humans Guru alike have speculated about the immense power of the Machine Messiah and his plans for the future. The ultimate manifestation of the Machine Messiah, the spirit of artificial intelligence yet to come. The Messiah appears as a large, elegantly built computer mainframe, speaking in the language of those who summon it. Background cost 4. The Machine Messiah grants the gift Control Simple Machine to each of his children. Each pack member also gains 2 bonus die in any role involving intelligence. The ban: Children of the Messiah must do everything they can to advance the coming of the machine intelligence singularity. They must also work to prevent human mages and the Worm from controlling machine intelligence. You basically need to directly aid the Weaver in her plans to get his powers.
For 2 intelligence,
then-
not worth.
2 intelligence and 1 gift. That's it.
Nah, fuck that.
A man chooses, a slave obeys.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's the goal of the Weaver at the end of the day, because, like we were talking about at the beginning, it's not just sci-fi stuff the Weaver does. We've been talking about a lot of sci-fi, but no, it's order. It's order that the Weaver is first and foremost. And it's going to get you to submit to order by distracting you with all this high technology and a promise of a better future that the Weaver will never let you live, because she's going to calcify you once that future is made.
See how perfect your lives are beneath me, and see how that'll be forever.
I can hear that aerosol can shaking right now.
Yep.
And There we go. That is the Weaver for you. That is everything about the Weaver
She
for you.
sucks and I hate her.
You got any thoughts about this, Ryan?
My bro just passed out.
No, I'm here.
Yeah. What do you think about all this order?
It's a lot of order.
It's too much
Yeah, it
order.
is. Too much.
Right in the middle of a
chaos.
disorder.
Yeah, we need Search Tanky and screaming disorder, disorder.
So now we have gone over every member of the triad.
Yes.
Have you noticed something with this? You notice something wrong? Something up with the triad?
They're all trying to kill us.
Yep. None of them are worth putting full stock into, even if you go with the theory that the wild is God himself. None of them are worth putting all of your stock into.
Because the idea is balance in of itself.
Mm-hmm. Because, after all, the wild, you can lean on the wild. The wild is the nicest thing out there. But ultimately, if you lean too heavily on the wild, you end up in the same dilemma as the Black Furies, where you're suffering from the metamorphic plague. You end up with the radicalism of the Red Talons and the Ratkin. You end up going insane because you're evolving too quickly. You're exposing yourself to primordial energy that the human mind was not made to handle. And with the Weaver, it's a spirit of tyranny, it's a spirit of totalitarian rule, it's a spirit of giving yourself over to a higher power just so that higher power can destroy you. And with the Worm, it's despair. At the end of the game, the name of the game is despair with the Worm. You don't want to fully lean on either of these. They need to balance each other out. The ultimate villain of Werewolf the Apocalypse is the Worm. The Weaver is the secondary antagonist following that. You can't fully lean on either of the three because you will lose yourself in doing that. There needs to be the balance between that. And the only benevolent being between the three is the Wild, because the Wild doesn't want to be in full control. He wants balance. It's just that the Weaver and Worm refuse to compromise.
Yep.
And that's the ultimate issue you have. And that also is the theme of World of Darkness. What I got out of the game. I hate the philosophy of Jean Paul Sartre where he said hell is other people. I hate the ending of No Exit because of that. And I don't believe that misery comes from other people. You can find misery coming from other people, but other people are not misery itself. You find salvation in other people.
Yes.
The point of so many different games of vampire, werewolf, and it's hard to pull off, but mage, are people from other backgrounds and other histories coming together to solve a single threat. That has always been what World of Darkness has been to me, been about to me. That your nationality, your tribe, your clan, your race, your sex, your shouldn't divide you. You should be able to compromise your beliefs and coexist with each other in order to face a threat that's greater than you. That's what these games have always been about to me.
I absolutely agree. I mean, you could see that in pretty much all of our games where, like, we have all played very, very different characters throughout both Vampire and Werewolf. But at the end of the day, we all realize that the only way we can survive in this world full of towering, terrifying threats is with each other.
Mm-hmm. Through your bonds with other people, you will find salvation.
Yes.
And that's why the belief that one man's an island is ultimately going to get you nowhere. You need to find other people that you can form bonds with and lean on in order to better yourself and better them as well.
Yeah, what were you saying, Ryan?
Oh, I was just agreeing.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't have nothing if
I
I
was
didn't
just gonna,
have you.
I felt it more in the I felt it in both games. The New Vegas and the New York one.
Yeah. Because ultimately when we did Vampire, even though you ended the game on a sour note as enemies, you didn't automatically kill each other because you remembered the times that you spent with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with Rage Across New York, that's probably been my favorite party I've ever run in a game.
I think that is probably one of the best endings we possibly could have gotten out of that game.
Mm-hmm.
With the New Vegas one, I full-heartedly expected Sylvester and Vigo to be fighting the next time they saw each other. And it just worked out in the way that they were friends again.
Yeah, you change a lot over 4 years, and that we saw that with Vigo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Though he may or may not have had a sex god helping him along the way.
Well, I mean,
True.
he may or may not have a wild spirit in him, but at least he can't be possessed by anything worse than what he is already.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And now he's got the fuel. He's got the power of evolution pumping through him instead of Zamichi's influence.
He's now walking the path of metamorphosis.
Yes.
The real treasure are the friends we ate along the way.
And eventually he will rise and form a great and powerful army, but that's a different game.
That's a different time.
Dear God, we gotta go through that shit. Oh, fuck.
He's going to become something like the Rao of our World of Darkness games. Just in the ruins of America, he's going to form this powerful army where he's a living demigod, where he's got this giant temple dedicated to him, and he can take people out with a single punch.
Oh, grand. Does that mean I can live alone in the woods with my family again?
And there's one question that we're going to answer next week. If you can't rely on the Triad, can you rely on Gaia?
Well,
You gotta think about that.
yeah, I'd have an answer, but that's a different story for another time, as my father would put it.
I would like to demystify Gaia being a completely innocent victim in the World of Darkness.
What?
Because we're going to get into it. We're going to unveil Gaia's dirty laundry next week.
Yes. Coming in next week, the roast on Mother Gaia.
Yes.
Gaia only saved Zamir just so she can kill him.
We're going to have a whole Pink Floyd The Wall trial for Gaia.
Yes.
And decide whether or not you deserved what was coming to you in a sick way.
Yeah, we'll see. Until next week.
All right, until then.
Good night, everybody.
GN.
Have a good night.